Hello, dear friends, and welcome to episode 1 of Random Rhapsody's Sonnet of Blood. I am Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and game master for this Curse of Strahd playthrough, and joining me around my virtual table tonight are Brandie, Dyto, Joe, Marty, and Natalie. Say hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Now, before we begin, we have a few announcements to get through, starting with the first of our two sponsors for tonight's show, Hero Forge. Marty?
Hero Forge offers fully customizable tabletop miniatures with dozens of fantasy species and thousands of parts to choose from. Their easy-to-use design tool lets you build your perfect miniature online using a fully 3D, in-depth character creator right in your web browser. That's also where we built our tokens for this evening's game. Hero Forge also offers custom minis in a variety of materials, including color-printed options and downloadable models for 3D printers. They're constantly expanding the catalog of customization options, adding new parts every week, and major features like new species and custom posing on a regular basis. You can check them out at heroforge.com.
Okay. And the second sponsor for tonight's show is XSplit. XSplit is a high-quality virtual webcam background remover that works with your already existing webcam. Using this program, you can protect your privacy while you work or play remotely. You can blur, remove the background entirely, or even put your favorite picture as your background instead, which is basically what I do. XSplit can even be used as a broadcaster for content creation. You can download the app today at xsplit.com, and if you use the coupon code RANDOM, you get 10% off your purchase. You can find our referral link in the chat and show descriptions. Last but not least, don't forget that our regular campaigns air every Monday at 7 p.m. Just every Monday, sorry. We've got the Debauchery Circus at 3 p.m. Central and the Fab 5 at 7 p.m. Central. You'd think I'd know these dates by now because we've been doing it for almost 3 years, but that's okay. You can keep up to date on everything we do by following us on Facebook as Random Rhapsody TV and on Twitter as @random_Rhapsody. And that should do it for the announcements. So join us as we dive into a brand new adventure and join an unlikely group of heroes as they attempt to survive. A Sonnet of Blood. And we're back, everybody. Now, for this campaign, we're doing our recaps a little bit differently. Whoever does the recap of our last session will be getting the RR coin, which I'm actually going to pop up for y'all to see right here. Boom, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Whoever has that coin, they get to redeem it during that session for 1 free Nat 20. Which also means that, yes, if I'm the one who does the recap, I get the coin as well. And I will use it. Now, if we have several players who want to do it, we will do a roll-off and see who gets to recap. Now, fortunately, for our players at least, our last session was just session 0, so we didn't do a ton. So this recap shouldn't be too difficult, right? So, who's going to give us our recap this week?
I
Wow.
will if nobody else wants to.
Okay. Go for it, Urzak. Tell us what happened the last time on Sonnet of Blood.
All right. So last time on Sonnet of Blood, our group of heroes met for the first time in a meeting room for the Erudite Conclave. We were given the job to go on an expedition. There's a new mountain pass that has opened up that has been, as of yet, unexplored. So we've been given the job to go on an expedition for about 2 weeks to report back to the Conclave with our findings. We took a trip. We took a boat to Rising Moor, got attacked by a manticore, and froze it in the ocean and jumped and stabbed it. It was a good time. When we got to Rising Moor, we reported to Dame Meriwether Brooks. She had some issues with some people that were harassing people outside of the gates of the city. We went to investigate and found some people claiming to be from a land called Barovia, which none of us had ever heard of. And they told us a story about their prince who has a curse of some kind. They were pretty vague about it. And we made our way through the pass, and some scary fog started rolling in. That's about it for my notes, anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty damn concise. Well done. You got that random Rhapsody coin there above your little window, and you get to use that. So don't forget about it. It only
We'll be
lasts the
selling
session.
this on eBay later, actually. So
Very valuable. Very valuable. Well, anyway, I'm going to reframe the show. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, yeah. Visibility is extremely low as you all make your way along the trail through the mountains. I think it was it Corwan who's steering the cart? I don't remember.
I don't recall. I don't think he was, but I mean, he can be.
Yeah, y'all tell me. Yeah, you have a cart, you have a pair of donkeys, and some crates of supplies that you're taking with you on this expedition. You actually, there is a handout of this in your player info. So I'm not sure who would be riding it. I guess the question is, does anybody have proficiency with that? With land vehicles?
No.
Man.
Nope.
No.
No, I don't think I took the right background for that.
No, Delphine is a map maker.
Well, that's good at least. But I mean, like, it's not too difficult to pilot these things. Literally anybody can do it. I'm not looking for a role here. Just whomever is actually riding the cart, that's the person riding on the cart. But as you're going along this trail, you can hear the wheels crunching against rock and brush as you go along this trail. The fog is swirling around you. And even with the light cast from the two lanterns that are affixed from the wagon, you can all barely see more than a handful of feet around you. So I imagine you all kind of huddle close to that wagon, keeping along the trail. As you walk, you can feel an almost oppressive weight bearing down upon you. It's slightly claustrophobic, and the way the fog just seems to be everywhere, obscuring even the landscape around you other than the occasional tree that comes along your path, it's slightly suffocating. At least for some of you, I would imagine. But you continue on, moving along the trail. And speaking of the trees, now that you're directly looking at the next one that slowly comes into view, whoever is steering the cart, we're just going to say Cog for now, has to move the two donkeys a little bit to go around it. You can see that tree that you're passing, it's not like the ones you had been seeing as you were starting to climb the mountain pass. Those ones were very thin, kind of things that cling to rocks and jut out of little jagged places, but this one, it's larger, fuller. It's also more spindly and jagged. And now that one's caught your attention, as you look about, you can't help but notice the fact that there are also a lot more trees in the vicinity around you. So, I ask all of you, Conclave Expedition, what are you wanting to do?
I guess, are we with that other, is the caravan going back as well of our jubilant travelers, or are we on our own?
The travelers that you met the night before were gone by the time you got up and left the city. You're not quite sure where they went. They had talked of going home. They had also talked about continuing on their journey. They kind of gave you a little bit of contradicting stories. To truth be told,
of course they did.
But you have not seen them since making your way into the mountain pass.
And they're the ones that kind of told us to head up this way, right? And you're like, Holland.
Well,
go ahead.
They told you that they had come from that pass.
Yeah, and that's just the way we were going anyway.
Yes.
I don't know if we're on the right path, guys. None of these trees, these aren't Dwarven Empire type trees. These look a little weird.
And this fog is not right for going through the mountains. I mean, unless there's a harbor on the other side, which I highly doubt. Does anybody else feel like they're suffocating?
Well, I am now. Thank you.
But ear feels a little heavy.
Let's just, maybe we pull over. We just take a minute. We're supposed to be documenting everything. We'll kind of look these trees over, get some notes. Just take a breather before we get any further in.
Yeah. Delphine will start sketching some of the trees that they're passing and indicating that there's a lot of fog. On a piece of paper, starting to make a map, since that's what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that's what Corwan will be doing that as well. He's going to be writing down, writing down everything he could see on it, and it's like not normal trees. Much more thick and jagged. Scary. It's going to underline scary trees.
You do have a cartographer's kit among your possessions in the Conclave's wagon there. So I point out to you, Delphine. So you could very easily be trying to take notes on building a map and making this pathway, which you're going up towards the mountains. Everyone just go ahead real quick. Give me a survival check.
First check of the night. Let's do it, everybody.
Can I guidance myself?
Certainly. No reason why not.
I got a 17 on that.
Yeah.
+0.
Corwan's gonna do that as well.
Wow, natural 1.
21, but we'll see if we can't get a little bit better. He's going to guide himself as well. He's 22.
Hey, it's a little bit better.
It is a little bit better.
I didn't need decline. I got a nat 20 anyway.
Yeah.
We don't have to. We're not over there, okay?
So, Urzak, you would definitely notice this fact. Corwan, on your wagon, you would also notice this as well. When you first started up the mountain pass, it was just hard-packed, kind of rocky earth that that was going along the trail. You were expecting it to get more rocky the farther up into the mountains that you got, but as you glance down at it, you realize that it's definitely rock, but it's actually hard-packed gravel, not the kind of trail that you would find just inching its way into the mountains, or something that had just opened up and broke up into a level path. And actually, now that you're noticing that, you kind of glance down and then you glance up at another tree that kind of comes up into your view through the fog, and you realize that at first you had been heading up into a mountain pass, so you're going at an upward sloped incline, and the donkeys were laboring pretty heavily, even though you're tiny and all they had left was the wagon full of stuff. It's still difficult for them, but they're no longer panting. They're no longer working hard. They're not laboring nearly as much, and you're actually on level, even ground. So that's kind of weird.
Weren't we traveling into a mountain? I mean, I'm small, so everything looks like a mountain, but we were going into a mountain, right?
We were.
Yeah.
Yes.
So why does it feel like we're not on a mountain?
This certainly is strange.
It's very odd, yeah. Nobody's been here ever that we know of, so
The ground beneath just
territory
feels like a road, almost like this was built and already here.
where are those smelly hippies at when we need them? I tell you, that wine a little too strong for my taste. It smelled like patchouli oil. They seem to be better guides. Where are they at? Just angrily writing in his book. It's like, never trust the locals, you know. Yeah, well, I mean, shall we move on, or too early to camp, I suppose?
Danika's gonna look around and see if there's any signs of like wildlife or anything in the area.
I'm going to ride along on that nat 20 for a 21 that you got. I see you had a bit of tech issue for it popped up, but with that 21, you're glancing about, looking, listening, getting in tune with the natural landscape around you, which is kind of difficult, you know, being that it's fog. But not only do you not see any animals or any native wildlife of any type, you also don't hear any. Other than the wagon wheels and the crunch of the donkey's hooves in the cobblestone and your own boots crunching along in there as well, it's eerily silent.
This doesn't feel right. But we were sent here to see what was beyond the pass.
Yeah. I suppose we should push on. I mean, we haven't gotten in that far. Maybe this is normal.
It could be.
But I mean, we're still on La Ropa, right? I mean, we didn't go that far. There's no area that I've ever read in La Ropa that's like this.
No, I haven't. I don't know of anything like this either.
I mean, big guy, the father, I mean, would he do something like, would he just have something weird laying around? I mean, the halfling goddess, I mean, we don't, this isn't our thing. We like, you know, indoors.
Not that I have ever read or heard of.
Go ahead and make a religion check, Urzak.
15.
You would, as an acolyte of the Church of the Five, and specifically Balris the Father, you would know that, honestly, that's really not how your god works. He's much more of the works in mysterious ways, doesn't have a whole lot of an active hand type of thing. So you're relatively certain with that 15 that, nah, this definitely isn't something just random from Balrus.
This is not of the father, for certain.
Yeah, that swells with confidence. Yeah, let's push on. Maybe this is just, maybe it's a weather thing. We're up in the mountains. Maybe it's something different.
Well, let's try a little bit of magic. I'm gonna use Druidcraft to predict the weather. See if it gives me any indication of what the weather is supposed to be like for the next 24 hours.
Okay, I like it. Go ahead and pop up Druidcraft for me real quick.
Totally forgot I have that too.
You guys have spells?
It's alright, big guy.
You can level 2.
You can smite stuff. It's alright.
I can't even smite yet. We're level 1.
Really? You don't get smite at level 1?
No.
Damn.
Yeah, it's
Nope.
at level 2.
God, it's been so long since I've been a level 1 paladin.
Okay, so Delphine, as you're walking alongside the card, you begin to cast Druidcraft, trying to predict the weather. You focus your spell, and as normal, something usually pops up in your peripheral vision that gives you a sign, like say a glowing orb for clear skies, a wet spot, or perhaps a water drop for rain, yada yada yada. This time, however, when you cast the spell, a small little... At first it begins to form like a cloud, dark and gray, but then it begins to swirl in your hand. You see lightning flashes coming from inside the clouds, and a bolt actually comes down and shoots at your hand, and you drop the spell, surprised, for the very first time, because that's not how the spell usually works. It gives you a small indication, but for a second there, it almost felt like it hurt.
How? That's not supposed to happen, and we should definitely stay on our guard with whatever is ahead of us. There's a storm brewing, and I don't know what kind.
Is there more than one kind?
Well, my magic doesn't usually hurt me. Well, not this specific magic.
Did you do it right? I mean, I know what you did. I mean, I've never seen you do that either.
I'm pretty sure I did it right. You are more than welcome to check my work. It's always good to
He's like, all right, yeah, you know what? And what could hurt, And he's just gonna go off to the side. He's like, yeah, she might be gorgeous, but let's see, Then he's gonna try and do it too, just to see what happens.
Okay. You cast your spell as well, looking for some type of effect, and for you,
oh god,
a mist seems to come out of your palm and swirl around your hand. Begin swirling around, almost making figure eights around your two outstretched hands, back and forth and back and forth. And as it does so, you start feeling this really cold sensation that begins to get colder and colder as the mists going around your hands gets darker and darker and darker.
Oh, that's not good.
And like you as well, like it spooks you, and you release hold of the spell just from the shock and surprise of what you saw.
Yeah, hey, no lightning, so that's positive. Yeah, you know what? let's we'll try again later. See, maybe it's just
a bunch
bad
of spellcasters to do something anybody else can do. I do the thing where I lick my finger and just hold it up to see where the wind's going.
Yeah, and the wind is actually blowing away from you towards your destination. Or at least it would be if you're following the path you're currently on.
Danika's gonna shake her head at everybody and just, y'all, we gotta stop lollygagging. Why don't we just follow the path? Just like she said, we should be on guard, though.
I mean, Corey would be like, if I were that tall, I could have done that too. And he's like, you see, there's no wind down here. It's like, all right,
just a different type of wind.
Not until somebody farts.
Yeah, it's like, stop the lollygagging. Let's move on. The Conclave representative, the only one that actually works for him. I say, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
We're all getting paid here, or we will.
Indeed. You continue on, following the path. Every so often, you hear strange sounds in the fog. Who does have the highest passive perception, just out of curiosity?
Oh, shit.
10.
13 for Cog.
13 for me as well.
How do I tell what my passive perception is?
10 plus your perception.
Yeah, 10 plus your perception number.
Plus my perception? Oh, I have 11.
I have a big 12.
Okay.
Investigation, on the other hand.
So nobody's really super high up there. The highest I heard was 13. So, you hear echoes every so often. Was that the sound of a wolf howl? Was that the snapping of a branch? Was that a moan? And all of you just keep looking back and forth, but you can't really see much more than 10 feet away from you. And the echoey sounds that are coming from the fog send chills up your spine. But you press on. Oh, go ahead.
Danika's gonna hold the hilt of her rapier, kind of getting ready, just a little nervous.
You continue onward. 15 minutes. 30 minutes. 45. An hour of weary travel in perpetual fog that's thick like pea soup, but not nearly as tasty. As you walk on, in the distance, the fog seems to thin just a little bit. You can see a silhouette, dark, large, in the distance. There's less trees that you're beginning to see. You still pass them occasionally, but in the distance you can see a dark shape, boxy. But as you continue to walk closer and closer, you're starting to make out just a little bit more of distinct details. It's large, it's wide, it's dark, just barely able to be visible throughout the fog, but that's definitely a building in the distance. And judging based on the silhouette that you can see through the fog, it's a good 3-4 stories at least. Possibly civilization?
Delphine's gonna tuck in a little tighter to the cart. Does anybody else see the buildings up ahead?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose we should make 4 of them.
Mm.
Maybe they can give us a little bit of maybe instructions on the area, directions. Tell us how long they've been here. I mean, nobody knows they're here.
That is true.
Oh, and where is here?
You can learn that.
I'm beginning to wonder.
Yeah, maybe there's somebody there that can answer a few questions for us.
Alright, yeah, we'll just keep moving on.
You follow.
Anybody hear loud thumping? No thump. Oh, what? Is it like? Nope, no, it's just my heart. All right, we're good. All right, let's go.
The gravel road seems to follow along with your plan, heading towards the dark silhouette of what you assume is a building. As you continue to follow, you can see that, sure enough, the gravel road does indeed lead to a large 4-story building that seems to be made of mostly stone and a little bit of timber that is dark as tombstones. As you continue forward, the fog seems to clear more, and you step out past into a much more thinning area where you can actually see that there is a large yard around this tall, dark stone building. There is a large tree in the middle to one side of this yard, bereft of leaves, towards the front of that very large yard, which you can see has a pair of, at first it looks like rope, but then you realize rope swings. There's a pair of rope swings hanging from the lower branches. The road seems to curve around a little bit as though making its way in front of this building, and you follow it. As you draw close, you can also see the outline of a much smaller building, just behind and adjacent the main one, and what appears to be a large signpost in the center of, to one side of, in the middle of a walkway path of more cobblestone that leads to the front of this building, and you can see that there is a wooden porch that is ringed with an iron gate towards the front of the building. Corwan, you pull reins on the donkey, stopping them for a moment, just a little bit to right in front of the pathway leading towards the building. And you can all see that what's on that signpost is large and carved with lettering, and a large shape that slightly resembles a bouquet. You can see the words that are carved there spell the words, "The Black Bouquet Inn."
Chuckle, I thought it was a funeral parlor.
I don't know what I thought it was.
Howdy, Baka Zombie. Welcome to chat for the first time.
Well, that inn looks promising, huh?
Oh, I mean, anything at this point looks promising.
Yeah, I mean, it's an inn. It's something. It's the first building we've seen in.
But I mean,
hours.
Who glorifies black roses?
They're pretty cool.
I mean, it's something you kind of like. It's something you like mourn with black roses. I mean,
in some cultures, black's not a mourning color.
And what cultures would those be? Drow cultures? They're not exactly the nicest people.
I mean, I didn't say a particular species. I mean, sure, maybe there are some drow.
It's a building. It's the first one we've seen. Might as well check it out, Gotta investigate, talk to the locals. And I guess, he'd go up, and he is independently named the two donkeys. He's like, all right, Leroy, all right, Jenkins. He goes, we're gonna be inside for a little bit. I want you guys to stay tough. Just scream.
You just hear a loud moan from literally everyone in the world.
I was like, what can I name him? And then I was like, I I remember in 2 different sessions of our Monday group, somebody Leroy Jenkins recently. So it's like, why not? He's like, just make some noise. Make a lot of noise or something. Okay, guys? They look at him like, what are you saying?
Do you want me to alarm the carriage?
Yeah, I'm agreeing. I don't want him, if anybody steals this, we are really kind of boned.
Yeah.
Certainly wouldn't be harmful to have a heads up.
I'm gonna start doing that. I need like 10 minutes.
So
you just take your time.
So, stopping in front of this building, you are popping down to cast a spell?
Yeah, I'm gonna start ritually casting alarm around our carriage. So
I think she just froze. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, but I did catch that she's casting alarm around the
with a ritual, yeah.
Sure. Okay. You all you park the wagon. She begins casting her spell. As that happens, you wait for a few minutes. As you're waiting, go ahead and give me perception checks, everybody who wants to kind of look and glance around.
Whoa.
God myself.
Oh. I got another natural 20.
You're boned now, man. You just dropped 2 of those. Wow, I got a total of 7. Total of 7. Corwan sees everything.
Can't hear you.
Glancing around, now that you've actually parked and are looking about, you can see that there are... Hold on. There's several bushes and shrubs and things like that in this yard area. It's very, very unkempt. Like, almost as though the yard really hasn't been dealt with or kept up with in some time. Towards the back of the building, you can see that second building that I had mentioned with a bit of a dirt path with some stone and cobblestone and whatnot worked into it, leading towards it. You're guessing that's probably a barn back there, or maybe a stable.
Does any of the shrubbery have flowers on it?
With your 17 perception, you can tell that no, there are no flowers on any of the bushes or shrubs nearby.
Are there signs of people? Are there like animals about, or is it just abandoned?
With that nat 20, it doesn't look abandoned. You can actually see there are several windows on the first floor of the building with light coming through it. They're all like shaded. The shades are pulled close. The blinds are, but you can still see some light coming from the inside of it. The second floor as well also looks like maybe 1 out of 5 windows has a light in it. There's a third story that with more windows. These are dark, and the fourth floor is more of, you know how like when a roof steeples, so there's obviously an attic towards there, and you can see like maybe 1 or 2 windows towards the top, but not nearly as many. Those also are dark. But the inn does seem to be lively. There's definitely looks to be some life in there with the lights and all. It takes a few more moments. Unfortunately, Dyto her internet went out, so we're going to give her a few minutes. But we're going to assume in 10 minutes or time, she casts the spell. As you're all kind of sitting there watching, looking about, trying to assess the inn and the whole reality you're currently seeing, you hear a door slam. You all look up to see the the double doors there at the inn being pushed closed by two small children, one taller, one a bit shorter. They push the doors closed and they go running. They don't seem to notice you at first. They go scurrying towards a bush near the front of the building and come around it towards your side, where you can see them, but it's more they're hiding from the door itself, and they crouch down there. You can hear from the children a bit of whimpering from the smaller one. A bit of shuffling and crying, and then the older one, with that nat 20, Urzak, you would definitely be able to hear this. Delphine, you would as well. Be quiet, Poppy. We can't let anyone know we are here. And, since we're here, why don't I just go ahead and show you this on the map? That way our audience can see it as well, but there you all are on your wagon, and you can see the two children crouching down behind this bush. They haven't seemed to notice you really at all. They're more just crouching down there looking over at the door, then crouching down, and then the taller one seems to be trying to comfort the smaller one a little bit. So, what do you all do?
They're not trying to hide from us?
They haven't seemed to notice you.
Oh.
Do we say something?
Danika's gonna cast prestidigitation, and do like a small breeze that's kind of towards them to try to get their attention so they notice us, but not enough to scare them.
Yeah, that's not scary from random wind just out of nowhere. That's right.
Go ahead and pop up the spell you're doing.
A gentle breeze.
That would terrify the shit out of me, and I'm almost a 40-year-old man. Just a gentle breeze in a place like this out of nowhere.
You're just too sensitive.
Let alone small children. Oh.
Uh-oh, my whole thing froze.
I didn't take that cantrip, so I can't do it.
What spell were you taking? Prestidigitation?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So you cast your spell, sending this light breeze towards these children that are crouching down there. And the taller one of the two seem to feel it, and they brush their hair a little bit because it starts blowing their hair. They look back, and then they jump, physically jump. You see the taller one stand up and grab a belt knife from their belt and kind of push the smaller one behind them as they're looking at you, and the young child calls out in a voice that, they're adolescents, so it's kind of androgynous at this point, but they call out, "Who is that? Are you here to hurt us too?"
That's an odd statement.
No.
Yeah, what do you mean two?
The child seems very nervous right now. Like I said, they have the smaller one behind them. They're kind of backing the smaller one up into the bush a little bit more, and the taller one looks back at your group and looks over at the inn, and they call out, "There's a monster in the basement. A mummy and daddy went down to to fight it, and they told us to flee. Are you hunters? Are you? And they're like kind of looking at you, and you can tell they're kind of assessing you as they say, Are you warriors? Can you help my mommy and daddy?
Big Green, I suppose, could. I mean,
yeah, I hear that, and I'm already like, all right, here we go, and I start making my way towards they're in the building, right?
They indicated that their mommy and daddy are dealing with some type of monster in the basement, is what they said.
Before I make my way, I'm going to ask the kids a couple questions, or at least one. Do y'all know, did you see the monster? Do you know what it's like?
The taller one, which Urzak, you're already charging forward. Corwan is a little bit behind, and they say, no, we did not see any monster. A mummy and daddy, they told us that a monster was down in the basement, and to hurry and get out of the inn and to hide. They said they were going down after it, and so we ran out and then we saw you.
Does your mom and dad have a name?
Yes, you're all getting closer. You can see that the taller one is in fact a boy, and the shorter one looks to be wearing a dress, has long hair. You're guessing possibly a girl, but you never want to judge that sort of thing. But the taller one says, "Oh yes, my father is Gustav and my mother is Elizabeth. My name is Briarvar, and this is my sister Popolova."
Okay, I'm gonna need you to put those in chat for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I have hop all over.
Yeah,
Who is?
Briarvar and Popolova.
I was gonna try and guess the spelling of that, but I wasn't even close. And Gustav and Elizabeth or Elizabeth?
They pronounce it Elizabeth, but it is pronounced Elisabeth.
Okay.
Elizabeth.
Vide has his hand on his gun. Heading up to the front. He's gonna help the kids out.
Can barely hear you, Brandie.
I said Vide will have his hand on his gun, and he's heading to the front to help out the kids.
The children seem to stay right where they are. They're watching your group as you all start making your way towards the inn itself. Now, as you walk towards it, Urzak, you can see that there is a wrought iron gate with hinges on one side and a lock on the other that borders the wooden patio of the tall stone building before you. The gate is unlocked. It's kind of open a little bit. Not enough for you to get through. You're kind of big and you're wearing heavy armor, but wide enough that the two children were able to slip through it and move past. There are a pair of unlit oil lanterns hanging from either side of the wall by the door, held by ironwork and chains. And in the center of that, there is a set of oaken doors that are currently closed, that you'd seen be closed by the children.
Okay.
Do you know know how to get to the basement? Briarbar?
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Gonna... Okay. You know what? Let's not guidance myself. You said persuasion? This will be fun.
Yeah,
Oh, I did have
persuasion.
guidance on 4.
The children kind of are stepping back a little bit, like you're all walking down the cobblestone pathway towards the inn itself, and they kind of shrink back a little bit, and they say, "Mommy and Daddy never let us go down into the basement. They say it is far too dangerous for us, but I'm also worried about my baby brother. My baby brother Walter, he's still on the 3rd floor of the building. Can you find him too?"
Did you guys hear that? There's also...
Yeah.
How much younger is your little brother?
The little girl speaks up now. "Oh, he is very much a baby. He cannot even walk yet."
Guys, if this place has monsters in the basement, should we prioritize, the baby that can't take care of itself in any capacity?
Hey, we got Kenny Rules in chat right now. Howdy, Kenny.
Well, why don't we go for the baby and the monster attacks?
Can I?
Then we can protect the baby, but if the baby is alone and the monster attacks, then...
I don't want to split the party just yet.
Yeah. Can I do
So-
an insight check to make sure these kids aren't, just being kids and messing with us?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead and make that insight check.
That would be a dirty 20.
Ooh.
Yeah, with a 20, you can tell for sure these children are absolutely being sincere. They look terrified and are legitimately worried.
Okay. Well, I feel like the immediate danger is the monsters. Should probably go take care of them first. The baby, I would assume, is going to be somewhere safe-ish.
Well, they did say the monster was in the basement too.
Exactly. So I'd think basement first, then kid.
Okay. Go ahead. Thought somebody was saying something. Now, here's the cool thing about this map is it's actually slightly interactable. You can see where there is a door icon on it, so you can just click them, and as long as they're able to be opened, you can just open it
Awesome.
and walk through. Yeah,
Whoa.
Dude, why don't we have this shit on Monday night, man? What the
we do. I've slowly been using it. You just have been in a freaking Tarask's belly for a month and a half.
Yeah, I suppose there's not a whole lot of doors inside a hill.
Yeah. But as you open the door, you can see a grand, large common room of an inn. Hanging in the northwestern wall of the inn's common room is a shield emblazoned with a coat of arms, flanked by framed portraits of a pair of stony-faced individuals that you're kind of guessing could possibly be those two children's mother and father. There is a bar to the southern side of the inn. So here's the weird thing: is I made this map and then I decided where it was going to be in relation to everything else. So north is actually down this way, and then south is up this way towards the bar. So I know it's a little weird, but it won't be too difficult to remember that. But anyway, there is a bar to the southern side of the inn with a cleaned and polished bar and stools along the front, with a neat row of bottles stacked on the shelves behind it. Tables fill the common room. and you can see a set of curving stairs opposite a fireplace towards what would be your left, Urzak. The outer walls are set with panes of stained glass for windows, which doesn't allow you to see a whole lot of the outside because, colored glass, but it makes a very pretty mosaic. The centerpiece of the wood paneling common room is a mahogany-framed painting of an alpine vale. So, everyone, you just kind of tell me what you're wanting to do and where you're wanting to look, and we'll kind of go from there.
So the bar is empty, kind of, we see? There's no one else in here but us, really?
There is no one else in here but you all, which is kind of surprising a little bit, though you didn't really hear any signs of life coming from the outside. However, there are quite a few lit lanterns and sconces, and the chandeliers hanging from the ceiling are also all lit and flickering warmly. You can also hear that there is a fire in the fireplace to the northern area side of the inn there.
And did you say these stairs go up or down?
Glancing over at them, you can see that the stairs seem to go up and around and past your vision.
Where would the most likely spot for a basement entry be?
I mean, maybe behind the bar? Maybe that's where they keep some of, the alcohol supplies?
That was kind of my first thought, too, to be honest.
I mean, Corwood would probably ask the kiddos, he's like, hey, and I know you're scared. We're going to check this out. We're going to help your parents. But do you want to wait inside? It might be a little more safer. And we can hide you in a corner or something. Maybe tilt one of these tables up and you can hide behind it.
Make a persuasion check. And there is a light coming from behind your head, Joe, that's making your camera not work.
Oh. Oh, it's the freaking... I think sunlight hitting off my freaking mirror.
Oh, it's sunlight? Okay.
Yeah, it's like
Weird.
bouncing off the back wall here. I'll mess with it in a minute.
Yeah, no worries. Just wanted to let you know.
But a persuasion.
Yeah,
It's gonna
persuasion
be-
check.
Oh,
Wow.
I don't think I don't think I was very convincing.
The boy grabs his sister and kind of pulls her towards him as he says, My mommy and daddy told me not to go back inside until the monster is killed. No, I will follow their rule and I will stay out here.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't want to go inside either. I'm just being honest with you. I just thought we could huddle in the corner while they go do stuff, but that sounds like that's out. And
I
he's
heard
gonna
that,
look
Cog.
He's gonna look at the kid like he goes, "Dude, you are my out. What are you doing?" He's like short people represent. And he's like, all right, well, you hide here. I mean, if you have to, you can hide underneath our wagon. Hopefully we'll be back.
We will hide in the barn.
Oh, perfect. You know where to hide. You got a place. Go.
And you see Briarvar grab his sister's hand, and the two of them go scurrying away towards the northern side of the building. But apart from that, what all are you wanting to examine now that you are inside the inn?
Do we want to just go straight to that door and see if that leads down?
I mean, we might as well. The only other stairs that we see go up. So there might be cellar doors that go down.
You can see that those stairs are right there. There are also a pair of doors that you can see along the wall right here and right here, which are near those paintings that I had described previously.
Okay.
Now, as you head over to the bar itself, this oak-paneled bar, it's kind of looks and has designed in almost like a hunter's den kind of motif. Mounted above the kegs is a stag's head, and positioned around the outskirts of the bar area are several stuffed wolf heads And you can also see throughout the inn itself, there are actually like quite a few wolf pelts and bear pelts along the floor to being used as rugs. The shelf itself is lined with liquor bottles and are draped underneath the bottles in animal furs. And there is a lower oak cabinet as well, supporting 2 casks of what is labeled as Wizards of Winery wine.
Isn't that the place that the
Oh yeah, the traveling band. Yeah,
that they talked about?
I think so.
That's not what this place was called, right?
No, it said on the outside, Black Rose Inn. Maybe that's just their supplier. It's the Wizards of Wine.
Black Bouquet Inn.
Oh, Black Bouquet. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yep, no worries. You can also see that there are 2 cabinets underneath the shelves with the bottles against the back wall. Other than that, you can see that there is another door that leads to a room to the side.
Let's check it out. I open the door.
Okay. Well, opening the door, the room is revealed to be a kitchen. It is a very tidy kitchen with dishware, cookware, and utensils neatly placed on shelves. There's a work table that has a cutting board and a rolling pin atop of it. A stone dome-shaped oven stands near the eastern wall, and it has a bent iron stovepipe connected to what appears to be like a hole in the ceiling. There are 2 thin doors. Besides the door you just came through, there's another door that you recognize probably leading to the common room of the area. And there is actually quite a bit of food throughout this room. It looks as though there's some loaves of bread on the counter. There's quite a few boxes of vegetables and things of that nature. I just got a message that unfortunately Natalie has to duck out because she has a work thing. So she just got a... Yeah,
dead body in real life. It's gonna be dead bodies in the game.
Uh-oh.
Perfect.
Work emergency calling her in, so hopefully she'll be back. That's unfortunately what happens in her line of business sometimes. But yeah, other than that, that's kind of it in this room right here.
Okay.
Do we
So-
want to check that door over here?
Yeah, I'll check this door.
Cog bravely stands behind a chair as you do it.
Cog, the table that you're standing next to, it's actually very nice and nicely carved and polished. It has 4 chairs around it, and there's a chandelier hanging just above you that is made of like deer antlers all put together, and then shaped with wood and ringed with iron. As you all open that door and glance out, you do see that, sure enough, that door does lead to the common room.
Well, shoot. That idea didn't work out. I guess check this door over here. I just did something. Okay, there. Hey, maybe check out this other door.
Sure.
And I'll have myself positioned behind, like, anytime just to make sure, like, if something jumps out, I'm ready.
No stairs. Doesn't look like.
Does not at all. As you open the door and glance around, you can see that what you're in is a washroom. It has several black cloaks hanging from hooks along the wall, and there's a shelf above those hooks that has a top hat sitting on the shelf.
Somebody is very debonair.
Now, Corwan, from where you're standing, you can see that the fireplace a little bit better now. The the fireplace itself is made of dark stone, very similar to the building itself. At one end, it's very tapered and polished. On the other end, it just kind of forms into the wall itself. Now, you can see that mounted above the fireplace is a longsword with a golden etched handle, kind of like there's a plaque inset into the handle of this weapon. The wood paneling above the fireplace is very ornate and sculpted with images of vines and flowers and nymphs and satyrs. And above the longsword itself, there's actually a painting of a windmill.
You said there was a plaque. Does it have any kind of writing on it or anything like that?
Go ahead and make a perception check.
That would be a 20.
Nice.
Yeah, with your 20, you can see that on the placard inlaid into the pommel of the sword, it seems to be a cameo of a windmill. And there's like scrolling and what appears to be like more of those vines and flowers that are around the paneling of the painting. But as you inspect it closer, you can also see that there are serpents and skulls inconspicuously woven into the design of those wood panelings. It's kind of weird. The longsword itself, there's no actual other writing on it as well, but you can tell it's of at least a fine quality make.
It's a very odd decorative motif. I must say so myself.
I mean, it does match the painting that it's
Oh yeah.
it's underneath.
Corwan, there are dead animal skins as rug. I don't think a sword on the wall is super.
I meant the snakes and the skulls and stuff. I'm used to nicer things in bars, prettier things, happy things. These are not happy things.
I will give you, it is odd that it's kind of hidden. Like, if you were to look at it from afar, you wouldn't see those things. I'm gonna go over to one of those paintings and take a closer look.
Absolutely.
You said they were over here, right?
Yeah, there's a pair of paintings of two individuals, a man and a woman. And then there's also let me see here. There's also a shield emblazoned with a coat of arms on that wall. So there's the two paintings, and then there's the shield with a coat of arms.
I'm gonna take a closer look at the shield then. If the sword had weird snakes and skulls, maybe.
Perception or investigation, since you're looking close.
I'm going to go with investigation. I'm gonna guide myself. Natural 20, 28.
Wow. Lots of nat 20s this session. Very nice. So the coat of arms itself is kind of interesting. In the center of it is a very large windmill perched up on a hill. You can see that there are woods surrounding it as well. And there's a little bit of scroll work and things of that nature. But as you lean in closer and begin looking at it and run up your fingers along the outer etching, you can see tiny bones and skulls placed randomly throughout the scroll work. In the forest itself, through the trees, you can see tiny representation of wolves. Head down, back up, fur bristled, as though looking as though they're getting ready to attack. And you can also see, as you're looking closer to the windmill, that there are signs that you can only interpret as being smoke coming from the inside of the windmill. Which sounds very weird, or seems very weird to you, knowing what windmills do.
There's more windmill stuff over here with bones and wolves, and it looks like there's like a smokestack in the windmill. That's odd.
Well, somebody might live in there, but why would it be on the shield?
I don't know. I mean, it's also in a couple of the other things we've seen too. This windmill. I mean, maybe it's their. Maybe the windmill is the family sigil. I don't know. It's weird, but
Very odd. Nothing about this place is normal. But then again, what is normal? Yep, he said it. He's the one. Everybody can hate him. I went with it. We need some more context here. We still haven't found this basement, so let's keep looking for that.
Now, speaking of which, Vide, you've been standing towards the back end of the wall near those stairs leading up, and you do see that there is a hallway leading back and around the stairs leading up.
Yeah, I was gonna point that out once I got a moment to pipe in.
I apologize.
Hey, yeah, there's a hallway over here, guys. Maybe the basement's this way?
I'll take a look.
I mean, there's got to be stairs down somewhere.
Yep. Urzak goes first, he's the tank and he's looking.
Found it.
Indeed you did. As you walk around, like, this is just a wall. That it's kind of claustrophobic, but there is a wall sconce there that is lit. You make your way around it and you look, and sure enough, there are stairs leading down to what appears to be a very dark cellar.
Oh, of course it's gotta be dark. Why has it gotta be dark? Well, he can't reach any of the fucking wall sconces. So he'll just pull out like a little torch of his, because halflings don't have dark vision. And quick, light it up with his druidcraft, because he can light candles, so like he's a quick light it and have it kind of ready to go. Shield in the other hand, and he's like, ladies first, as he sees her, his two ladies pull up behind him. He's like, go right ahead. I wouldn't, let me be the gentleman. Step aside, even though you can easily walk over him.
Yes, send the ladies into potential danger first. Very gentlemanly.
Hey, I'm 3 feet tall. What do you want from me? It's like I am a snack for most of the things that are in this world.
Well, with that in mind, why don't you go ahead and give me a marching order of who's going down into the cellar?
Urzak first, I suppose.
I'll go next, I guess.
I'll be right in the middle with you.
Yeah, I guess Corwan will go in behind her. Have our bard coming up with us at the back. He'll keep her company.
Okay, sounds good. So we got Urzak in front, followed by Vide, followed by Delphine, and Corwan and Danika taking up the rear. 1 second, I'm going to move you to the next map. And you said you got a torch on?
Yeah, he's got a torch going.
Okay.
Are there any sconces on the wall that are just unlit?
One second.
Dark and dreary seems to be quite the motif since going into this mountain pass.
Okay, you should be able to see the new map now. As you're making your way down, Cog is holding that torch as high as he can, which for you, most of you, is just chest height, but whatever. You can see that, at least going down the stairs, no, there are no torch sconces itself. But down towards the bottom of the stairs, which is only about basically a 10-foot walk, you can see that there is another torch sconce down at the bottom with an unlit torch in it.
I'm gonna druidcraft and light it.
Yeah, absolutely. You can druidcraft that and light it as you make your way down. And you can see now that you're at the bottom, this is what appears to be a small root cellar for the inn. Along one wall directly to your south, you can see that there are tons of barrels of what appears to be wine. It's certainly labeled that way. Wizards of Winery wine in these casks. You can also see that further inward there are more crates and things of that nature. You walk over and inspect one, and one is labeled as brandy, another is labeled as cognac. So there's some hard alcohols as well. Your group slowly make their way around. Go ahead and give me a perception check as well, everybody.
Well, my luck had to run out eventually. That's
Yeah.
a 6.
Guide
God.
myself.
Yeah, so will I
Perception.
here.
That'll be
Ooh,
an 18 for me.
18 total for Corwan.
Oh, 21 total.
Yeah, anyone who rolled over a 15 would very easily be able to hear a slight scratching from somewhere too far to the far end. Urzak, you're in the lead and you're kind of walking around and you make your way to the other
Hey,
side.
buddy. There's I don't know, noises like spiders.
What?
What the hell kind of spiders have you been dealing with? I mean, maybe mice? I'm hoping, but if they're spiders,
Okay,
that
rats. Maybe rats. Or
No.
groundhogs. I don't know.
good. Ooh, groundhog. That'd be interesting. I
Urzak.
don't think I ever heard a story of a groundhog killing an adventurer. So. let's go groundhog.
Oh,
First time
you
for
know what?
everything.
I've got a story. When we get home, I've got a story for you.
Hey, are there any more like unlit sconces over this way that could potentially be lit?
Make a perception check.
That would be a 14.
There are a couple, and I assume everyone working together can just light them. So I'm going to go ahead and just pop them on the map for you.
I think at one point Corwan started going, like, watch this. He goes, pew, pew, like figure guns, but he's just doing druidcraft to light them up.
Same.
It's like, yeah, you're not the only one with a, whatever you call that thing. Yeah.
Hey, you know, teamwork makes the dream work.
This blows on his finger like, yeah, that's right.
Anywho, y'all, you light up the torches as you see them, and towards the back, it's a much larger room that filled with really tall, wide kegs that smell. The area smells extremely yeasty and slightly fermented. You get the idea that you're moving into the area where they ferment their beer.
You know, this is a lot of alcohol for no one upstairs. Why would they need
But
so
no-
much
No
inventory?
monsters yet?
No
Well, I mean, maybe
monsters.
whatever this monster is drove away their customers. Maybe they made a lot of money. Maybe they had a lot of people.
Is there any sign of that? I guess Urzak didn't hear the scratching noise.
Yeah, Urzak really didn't hear any of the scratching noises or anything like that. So for you, you're like scanning around, looking, and at least from where you are right now, you don't see any sign of a monster or of a pair of parents.
And do I see Because I got an 18 for perception for that, with the scratchy noise. Do I see what could have possibly been making that noise over here at all?
As you're looking around, no, you do not. And that is slightly disconcerting.
This is weird, because those kids are definitely sure their parents were down here with a monster.
Are there like scratches on the floor or on one of the walls?
Riding that 21 perception, you're glancing about, you're looking at the floor. You can see that the floor itself is extremely dusty. And you can see trails, like small claw marks, very small, inch wide or more. Long, something that snaked back and forth, almost following along those claw marks, almost like a tail. And then you glance about again and you can see larger prints of the exact same type in various other places. And as you're looking and you're seeing that, you're hearing this and a squeak, and I'm going to need everybody to roll for initiative, which we will begin after our break because it's 7:24, and so let's go ahead and take initiative, and then we're going to go on break. So click on your tokens first. Don't forget to do that. That way it goes into the turn order.
I think I did.
I'll roll for Danika.
Told you I heard something. There are tracks too.
Oh shit! A rat!
It's a rat. No, it's a groundhog.
Probably.
Rat.
Or worse, a squirrel.
No, I'm not ready to submit to our squirrely overlords just yet.
Whoa.
Okay, so we all got our initiatives in, and we're going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break and try to do this really, really quickly. That way we can get back into this and find out what exactly we're dealing with down here in the basement. So stay tuned, everybody. Howdy, everybody. We are back, although it doesn't look like it because half my screens are black. Natalie, unfortunately, had to take off because of some, work issues, which is never fun, but we understand. I'm going to just purge somebody in the chat, but that's okay. Anywho, let's jump back on in, and we actually are stepping into a combat scenario here. The group just went down into the basement and started looking around where they heard, squeaks and sputters and all sorts of weird stuff. And then they saw a very large, basically a large corgi-sized rat come crawling out from underneath one of the beer barrels there. And is coming up to attack. But it looks like Urzak has the first person to, react. So, Urzak, you see a very large rat crawling out from underneath this large keg over here to your, that would be your right. So what would you like to do?
Stab it, I suppose. I'm gonna run up and I'm gonna do that.
I mean, I guess that's fair.
I said, nope. Does a 12 hit?
It's got
12, oddly enough, just hits.
Thank God. Okay. It's like, this would be embarrassing. 10 damage.
10 points of damage. You just draw your sword up, running over to it as it's big and it's kind of fat, and you see it's like it has to wiggle its butt trying to climb up out from it, but it's still like hissing and squeaking at you as you walk over to it. You raise your long sword and just stab downward, and as you do, you hear this loud and then falls down
Absolutely
dead.
not. Oh, it's dead. Okay.
It's dead.
I hate rats.
I mean, I would hope it's dead. It's a rat.
I hate them. It's a big rat. I guess that's all I got. I have no bonus actions yet.
Okay. I'm looking at the stream chat, and I'm not sure what's going on with Nightbot, but I gotta fix that later. Sorry about that, Kenny. Anyway, next up, after you kill that giant rat, you glance back because there is another one of them coming out from one of the kegs behind you.
Uh-oh.
No.
And it's coming running towards you, Delphine. Because, why not? It comes scurrying towards you after wiggling itself out from under this keg. And it's going to make an attack. That's an 11 to hit.
No.
Why is it rolling at advantage? Should never do that. Anywho, it tries to bite up at you, but you have your mage armor still from when you cast it earlier this afternoon, and it is unable to get purchase. You just dance out of the way as it comes running towards you. Unfortunately, next up is, some more things. Urzak, you're feeling, pretty happy with yourself. You had just killed that rat as it was crawling up from underneath the kegs, and then you kind of glance around at your feet as a dozen or more little tiny actual rats come scurrying out from underneath the keg to swarm around you.
Uh-oh.
Let's see here.
Wait, to get killed by rats?
They literally swarm about you. They're basically circling around your feet, scurrying about you, and they start trying to bite you. That's a 21 to hit.
Shit.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Around.
3 points of piercing damage as these rats seem to scurry up over your legs and crawling underneath your armor to bite at your thighs.
My thighs. It's my best asset.
That's it for the rat's turn. Vide, you've just watched as another giant rat came crawling out from the woodwork to try to bite Delphine, and then tiny little rats are just swarming about you, or about Urzak right now. Like, it's almost like that scene in Ratatouille as all the rats were discovered, and they all come running and just run over the person. What do you do?
I'm gonna be just a little bit lazy. I'm just gonna pull out my whip and I'm gonna whip this one right in front of me.
Whip it good.
24 to hit? Does that hit?
No, unfortunately, that really... Yeah, it hits.
Oh, 4 damage. That's not as exciting.
It's not too bad. You whip at that rat. It strikes the thing's head, and it seems to wince a little bit, but, you know... Oh, you also do have to move. It's only a 10-foot reach with whips, I think.
Well, when I googled, it says 15.
Does it? I could have sworn it was 10. Maybe I'm wrong.
Let's see.
I mean, unless what I'm seeing is...
Oh,
Yeah, there's a
corroborate.
couple things here saying 15.
Okay, no, you're right. 15. Nope,
Just
my
says
mistake.
Finesse and reach on the item, unfortunately.
Nope, it is 15. My mistake. So yeah, you whip it out. It cracks that thing about the side of the head. It is still alive, and it turns and kind of snarls at you.
Bring it on.
Next up is Danika's turn, and I'm playing Danika, so I have to decide how to do this. I'm going to just kind of move her up a little bit to come right behind Vide. I don't want to use all of her stuff. I feel like that wouldn't be very nice.
I think she might have a cantrip or two.
Yeah, she does have cantrips, and that's what I'm going to use. She's going to say, oh, I don't know. Oh, a bunch of rats! Your whiskers are really ugly and ill-kempt.
Wait, Natalie, I thought you left.
Okay, so that's a wisdom saving throw. And a 9's gonna fail, so 4 more points. She shames this giant rat into death. The rat looks over and looks at its whiskers and is like, oh, yeah, you're right. And just falls over dead.
Oh, yeah, you're... Wait, these rats talk? Oh no.
The parents were the rats all along.
Well, Delphine, it is your turn. Right now, the only rats you can see is the tiny ones that are swarming all about Urzak. What do you do?
I am going to take out my rapier, and as I do, Delphine runs her hand along the blade as it bursts into green flame. I'm gonna come over and try and help out my green friend with my green flames and try and take care of some of the rats on them with my green flame blade.
I like it.
You're still not rolling, right? You're supposed to.
Well, that was... I mean, you rolled
Was
an
it
attack, which was
okay, that was a 7 to hit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a 7 is going to miss. You come running up, the flames crackling along the edge of your rapier, and you try to stab out at one of the rats, but you're also, like, terrified that you're going to stab Urzak by mistake, and so you end up missing. I assume that's it for your turn?
Yeah, I don't really have any bonus actions.
Okay. Next up, another one of those damn rats comes crawling out from underneath the kegs, and it's going to come running up towards Vide, trying to attack him. And that's a 22 to hit.
I mean, of course that hits.
6 points of piercing damage. It just runs and lunges and jumps at you and latches onto your thigh and just bites down hard and won't let go, and you're flailing about, and it just rips and tears at the muscle before finally releasing you.
Ouch. That was quite painful.
I'd say so. Cog, you're next.
Good lord, you know, most of the stuff he's got is buffs and debuffs. You know, I think he'll just kind of look at things like, oh god, you're a big ugly one, aren't you? Alright, he's gonna just pull out his mace. He's like, I can do this. I can do this. And he's gonna swing at this little fucker.
Swing at him.
Oh shit! With a
Let's go.
19.
Yeah, that's going to hit.
Of course.
Please tell me
Hey,
you
hey,
please tell me you have
he
one
hit,
hit point.
okay?
Hey.
He hit. That's all they want.
You can't win them all.
Hey, you know what? 1 damage is better than no damage.
As Vide flings this giant rat off of his leg, it lands on the ground, and you see your moment. You swing as hard as you can, both hands on the mace, up, down like a jackhammer, and you hit the tip of its tail, and it squeaks in pain.
Goddamn right it did. Yeah, that's right. He's like, yeah, it's like you learned your lesson, didn't you, rat? I'd like
It
to think
just-
he's almost eye to eye with it. You know?
Probably a little bit. This is definitely a rodent of unusual size, and it just glares back at you angrily.
Oh yeah, bring it, rat.
Or
He's
Zach
still
turns and makes
little
like a
scared.
mental note for later.
So that'll be his turn. I don't want to burn any spells because these are just fucking rats.
Yeah. Another big group of rats comes scurrying out from underneath those kegs. Since one of them is already swarming over Urzak, this other one comes just racing towards Delphine. Jumps upward. You see this, like, a dozen or more rats come just jump and reach towards you, trying to bite at you, Delphine. Where did I put that? There it is. But that's a 4. So your training with Urzak is actually going really, really well, right? And you just react and jump and dance back, flinging your blade side to side, patting each of these rats as they come towards you, and then they all land on the ground and just start swarming about you. But you take no damage.
You gotta dance, Urzak. Dance.
You know, you can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind. And it's Urzak's turn. So,
Turn.
Urzak, top of the order. You have rats running all about you, jumping on you, crawling over your back. It's like the worst shiatsu massage you've ever had in your life.
Urzak just like he's not even like trying to hide it on his face. You can tell he's like very visibly uncomfortable and just does not like the situation at all. Just starts wildly swinging his sword at the swarm of rats.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and make an attack. However, the gods are looking down on you right now with a little bit of disfavor. They're not too thrilled with you being unable to deal with these rats, and you're going to be making this attack with disadvantage.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Someone you've played with in the past is fucking with you in chat.
Who did you make mad?
Kenny, I'm coming for you, Kenny. I'm coming for you later.
So what you got, buddy?
It's an 11.
So here's the funny thing, though. It's just a fucking swarm of rats.
Yeah,
So an 11 hits.
Nice try, Kenny.
Their
I
benefit is
appreciate
in numbers, not heftiness.
Shoutouts. 9 damage.
Wow. 9 points of damage. Not too bad.
Oh, they got some kind of weird thing of more or less than half their HP.
So you start swinging wildly. You can feel the gods just looking down on you with displeasure and irritation, or though that's what you think, but still somehow like the tip of your blade is hitting some of those rats. A few of them literally get decapitated from your wild, inane, just panic swings. And you've managed to do a decent amount of damage to that swarm. But they are still around.
Okay. That's it.
Oh,
That's
I think
it
our girl's
indeed.
back. Heard somebody in your
Oh.
chat.
Nat, are you back?
I'm actually driving into work, unfortunately.
Oh, it's
yeah.
fine.
But I'm gonna listen to it and maybe chime in if I can.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's going on is Urzak just, chopped the head off a few of these rats, even though the gods are fucking with them right now. But it's now the swarm of rats' turn. And let's see, math. Yeah, they are attacking you, Urzak, because they're pissed off that you've killed some of their buddies. That's a 14, unfortunately.
That misses.
But I have advantage because my good buddy Kenny just earlier yesterday he was like, you know what, one DM from another, one DM to another, I'm going to give you advantage. So I'm going to roll this one more time.
Hey.
Oh!
That's a shame.
So how'd that go?
Not as well as I was hoping, I'm not gonna lie, because I rolled a nat goddamn 1. But you know what? Urzak, like, you have your shield, you have your sword, these rats are just biting at you, swarming, trying to get around you, but you just summon the You summon the will to fight on. You're blocking, you're pushing them away. One of them comes running up, jumps right at your face. You can see the teeth right near your nose, and you just grab it in that last moment, and you're like, not today. Vide, you're up next.
So, Vide's not feeling all that great. He's kind of not too happy, so he's going to go ahead and swing at this little guy right here. I'm actually going to pull my Bowie out for this one, though.
Fair enough.
That's a 24 to hit.
Definitely going to hit.
Yeah. For 8 damage.
More than enough to take out that rat. Just tell me how that looks.
I quickly put my whip away, pull my Bowie out, kind of do a little flip, and stab down right through its skull.
And you stab just as it's jumping, lunging towards you. Your Bowie goes right through its skull, lodge there, and you see the thing just twitch a little bit before dying. Danika.
I take my Bowie and, fling it off.
Absolutely. Danika, 3 of them are dead. 2 swarms remain. One of them swarming Urzak, the other swarming Delphine. What would you do?
Let's vicious mockery the one swarming Delphine.
Okay. So you cast your spell, which I will go ahead and do for you. Do you say anything to fuck with these rats at all? Can you think of something funny?
Y'all smell worse than moldy cheese.
Y'all smell worse than moldy cheese. Let's see how well these things react. Oh, that's a 15. You say this, and then the rats that are swarming Delphine just look over you and like, well, yeah, we like cheese. Of course we smell like that. And it doesn't seem to land. Delphine, what do you do?
Much of the same as last time. My blade is going to erupt in green flames, and I'm going to go after the swarm that is trying to crawl up me. 12.
12 is more than enough.
So my swarm is going to take 8 piercing damage, and green fire is going to arc off my blade and do 5 fire damage to the swarm on Urzak.
Okay. As you stab into these rats, skewering quite a few of them in the process, the burning green flames on your blade just jump. And Urzak, for a second, you think they're about to burn you, and you kind of panic. But then they hit the rats that are just kind of crawling all about you and burning them quite a bit. Like, you're at the point now you can tell there's barely half of these rats left about you.
I've got you, friend.
Thanks.
And with that, it is Corwan's turn. What do you do?
So these big ones in front of us have died. Is it just the 2 bundles that are kind of on them?
Just the 2 swarms.
All right. Well, he'll kind of approach and look up, and he's gonna like, I don't think this is gonna hurt them. I guess we'll find out. Then he's gonna toss out Sacred Flame, and actually, let me click on the actual thing instead of that. So it's 13 dex save or 8 radiant damage to the one that's around Delphine.
Got it.
So hopefully they're not very dexterous. Son of a bitch, they are.
extremely dexterous. You send that burning arc of radiant energy flying towards them. You're worried about hitting your friend, and so I imagine you just kind of aim a little high, and it goes right over Delphine's head and does not strike the rats at all.
Yeah, she'll be fine. I'm sure she's okay under that. How tall are these kegs right here? These are crates?
Yeah, those are crates, so they're only like maybe 2.5, 3 feet tall. About the same height as you.
I was gonna say, he'd clamber up onto one, but I know you're gonna make. You know what? He's got 0 athletics. Sure, why not?
Yeah, go ahead and make that.
Would that be athletics or acrobatics?
Oh, it's definitely athletics.
Oh, I guess no. Without the guidance of himself, but it's 12.
Honestly, a 12's enough. It's not a too challenging climb. You holding your mace, you kind of put it up there on the crate and just start wiggling and climbing, and you're able to get up, and then you use that momentum to climb up to the next one, and you're at least a couple high, more like 7 feet tall at this point.
Yeah, he'll have Overwatch, so he keep an eye on everything. So he's the general running his soldiers right now. It's what he puts in his own head.
Yeah, sure. I'll buy that.
That'll be his turn.
Okay. Next up, we have the swarm of rats around Delphine. There are more than half of them in this bundle. They're going to be attacking you. But I assume a nat 1 for a 3 is going to miss, so... Yeah,
Even
you're
for
just...
a wizard, that's low.
Hold me...
Wow.
Hold me closer, tiny dancer. You just managed to easily dance away around these rats, spinning wildly in this elaborate sort of almost ballerina type of movement.
I know I didn't teach you that.
Some things you gotta learn on your own. Play to your strengths.
It is the top of the order, and Urzak, what do you want to do?
I'm going to take a two-handed strike with my longsword on the swarm of rats that is on me.
Okay, you swing that shield onto your back.
Oh, do I still have disadvantage?
No,
well, it's the first roll
the first
anyway.
one anyway. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Unfortunately, as you swing your shield onto your back and then grab the longsword for a vicious attack, it just kind of threw you off balance, and none of the rats are connected. Oh. Man, oh man. But, they have the opportunity here, so they're going to be attacking back. But that's a 13, so I assume that misses.
Yes.
Vide, you're up next.
Okay, I'm gonna step forward 5, 10. Okay, and then I'm just gonna whip these ones.
Yeah, putting your bowie away, you pull out that whip and try to Indiana Jones these goddamn rats.
21.
Definitely hits.
That'd be 5 damage.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but chains and whips excite me.
Thank you.
Yeah, they do.
Damn right. And that whip is exciting you as it strikes off 1, 2, 3, 4 of those rats that are swarming about you. More than half of them are dead. Quite a few of them are now, Delphine, but they are still about you. Next we have Danika. What does Danika do? If Natalie's with us.
She's not.
Okay. Well, then I'm just going to do what she kept doing, which is vicious mocking, because I don't want to use her spells. She just calls out, "Hey, rats! Your home is really dusty and ill-kempt, and you're obviously overmatched here." Because, you know... Y'all hate my vicious mockery.
No, there like he's laughing at what I fucking wrote for his
Yeah.
fist attack.
Yeah, I saw it. God. So, like, Delphine just kind of sucks, and as far as
Wow.
as far as viciously mockering, twice now she's rolled a 1 for damage and missed, and yeah, nothing. That's a shame. But Delphine, you're up next. You got at least half the rats around you. What are you doing?
I'm going to primarily attack the rats around me with my green flame blade for a 24 to hit.
Definitely hits.
So 4 damage to my rats and 5 damage to Urzak's rats. 5 fire, mine's just piercing.
Yeah. You keep stabbing at these rats while Urzak, your nose is just becoming full of the smell of burnt hair. It is raunchy. Dear God. You both have like maybe 2 or 3 rats left alive swarming about you, but they're not quite dead yet. Corwan, your turn.
I mean, yeah, because I'm going to save the spells I actually have to kind of heal people up at the end. So yeah, he'll do another, just kind of like rub his little paws together, or I guess his hands, since he actually has hands and not blood in this game. And he'll fling another sacred flame at the one that are surrounding Delphine. So 13 for 8 radiant if they fail.
I'm rolling really well with these saving throws for fucking rats.
I mean, I would have baned them, but they're rats.
They are rats. Rats are pretty dexterous in real life.
I guess.
This is true.
Alright, yeah, he's just gonna go back to writing in his book.
I get more chances to bite people with the rats. I always love doing that. God, I don't have any more inspirations or anything like that. That's a shame. So, yeah, bites at half. 13 to hit for Delphine.
13 misses.
Nice. You're just dancing away, keeping them back. You're not hitting. I mean, you've been hitting. You've been dealing them back, and you're just kind of batting them away with your weapon as they jump and try to bite at you. So you're doing pretty good.
Hey, a wizard with 16 AC.
Heck yeah. Urzak, you're up next.
All right, let's try again. If at first you don't succeed, you know what I mean? God bless. How about a 10?
You know, the funny thing is, they're a swarm of rats. Their AC is 10.
Okay. That's a 10 plus 4. 11.
I mean, they're making their deck saves with a +0. God damn.
Yeah. Well, good news is this is enough to take out the swarm of rats. Urzak, tell me how that looks.
It's just, like, no technique, no finesse in any of it. Just
Whack-a-mole.
Sometimes not even like chopping, just like smashing
Probably.
with the blunt side of the sword. Just, no.
But good news is the last of them are dead, and Vide, you're up next.
Alright, Vide's gonna do the same. He's gonna try to whip these guys and hopefully do good. 16 to hit
Gonna hit.
for another 6 damage.
I don't know. Audience, should I just give it to her? Should I? Because she hit for 6 slashing, and these things have 7 hit points left. So I want this combat to end. I'm going to say yes. You absolutely, with your whips, hitting boom, 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 over and over again. Danika like calls out another really, really lame, vicious mockery at the last minute, but sure enough, the last of the rats are dead. And they fall to the ground, squeaking their last. And you are now out of combat.
A couple of things. I don't see any parents. And I really hope that those... I mean, would kids think that those are the monsters? I don't remember being afraid of rats as a child.
Me either.
Well, I mean, did you see the size of those things? They were huge.
And I mean, yeah, to a kid, that'd be pretty big and scary.
I mean, I've seen bears smaller than that creature.
I mean, I had my childhood in the Feywild, so there's lots scarier, weirder, bigger things.
That does bring up a good point. I loot the rats.
Make an investigation check.
Are we looking to cook them later?
Urzak, you bend down and start like peeking through the rats, glancing around them, picking up a couple of them, sniffing them even. They're rats. There's nothing on them.
I think we're clear.
Oh, you mean they don't have like little gold pouches or anything?
Upsetting.
Their teeth aren't made of diamonds? What? That's why they're cutting so deep?
It sucks.
Now, who was it that has the 13 passive perception?
Corwan has that, and I think
I do as
Vide?
well.
Yeah.
Okay. The two of you hear this.
Whoa.
Oh no.
I believe we've got company, guys. Might want to go.
Either that was somebody shutting the door coming down, or they were shutting the door locking us in.
Yeah,
So what do you do?
Is everybody doing okay damage-wise?
I didn't get hit. Those rats were no test to my skills.
I'm fine as
Can't
well.
hear you, Brandie.
How are you doing there, buddy?
I'm fine. Urzak quietly lay on hands himself for 3.
As I say, don't be
Without letting
modest.
anybody know.
I think Vide took the most.
yeah,
Oh,
I
really?
might have.
Oh, you're at half. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I guess if Vide says something, Kag will be like, all right, well, let me take care of that. And he'll just do a cure wounds at first level for you. And you're also going to end up getting 2 plus the spell's level, so an extra 3 on top of the cure wounds. It is not in my... Oh, there it is. Ooh, wow, 4. But then with the Disciple of Life, you also get 2 plus the spell's level, so another 3, so 7 total.
Nice. I am full health now. Thank you very much.
Just don't look at me with that mask on, and we're even.
Fair enough. Don't piss me off then.
Oh, I can't promise that. He's gonna look at the big guy and goes, hey, how about a little help down off these boxes? He's gonna hold his hands out like he's like a child to their parent and like, yeah.
All right.
You
Thank you, buddy.
Just
It's like, don't worry, we'll work about those performance issues later. Don't worry.
Wow.
Yeah.
that is quite the call out.
I don't know what you're talking about. I had a good height advantage. I saw a lot of things. He swings at me with the 2 hands. I think that was the problem. You know, you were working your weapon. All right, I'm not gonna do the metaphor I did before because I'll seem weird. It's like, yeah, you're doing fine though. Everything's good. But yeah, there was a door slam.
Yeah, Vide's gonna have his gun drawn at this point though, as we're walking through.
Question: those were the boxes with the hard liquor in it. The crates over along the wall.
Yeah, the crates along the wall had various hard liquor, brandies, and cognacs and things of that nature.
You know what?
Grappa.
If there's a whiskey box, she's gonna try and pop it open.
Make an investigation check.
I'm gonna guide myself. Likes her whiskey. In just
You know what?
13.
You start searching through all the boxes looking for whiskey in general, and you don't find any. You find brandy, you find cognac, you find grappa, you find things that are made with grapes, but no whiskey.
Yeah,
Grab a-
Cog will look too, and he's gonna see if he can't find something that he could maybe tell if it's got like a high alcohol content. It would be good for like cleaning wounds if it comes down to that. So he'll do the same thing,
Yeah, investigation.
and he'll guide himself as well. So 16.
That grappa seems pretty high content.
Okay.
Like, you open one of the bottles and sniff it, and whew, that's potent shit.
Yeah, because his cleric teachers were teaching him some old battlefield, emergency wounds. He's like, yeah, if you can clean out a wound with a good high, high strength, whiskey or, sugar works great too on wounds, keeping infections down. It's like, so we come across
sugar.
that,
Well,
like,
there's a kitchen upstairs. Maybe they've got some sugar.
well, we're stealing liquor from him. We'll see what we, we'll come to it. Yeah, So, yeah.
Borrow.
he'll
We'll leave a couple of gold pieces.
he'll stash a couple bottles in his pouch. So you said grappa is what it.
Yeah, grappa.
Okay.
Yeah, grappa specifically. Made from grapes, distilled. It's strong. It's potent. Like, imagine vodka made from grapes, but kind of more heavily spiced, and that's kind of what you got.
Yeah. So he'll just pocket 2-3 bottles and go on his way.
Okay. Well, after pocketing 2-3 bottles, you start making your way back up towards the stairs in the back of the cellar. And as you draw towards the stairs themselves, you have some lights down here. You've lit some torches, that sort of thing. I'm not sure if you're still holding the torch that you previously.
Yeah, he might have put it down during the fight since they had the sconces, but he'll pick it back up and relight it if he needs to.
But my point is, as you get towards the stairs itself and look up, it's completely dark above you. There were sconces lit previously, but they've all gone dark.
Well, that's just great.
Do you think those kids lured us into the basement to lock us in here?
See? What did I tell you about children? They're just... Especially the big ones, they're just so mean. They play keep away with my book all the time. It's just, they're rude.
That's not nice.
But what are y'all doing?
Who wants to check the door?
I mean,
Kaz
shall
gonna
our
raise his hand. Not it!
friend here go and, because he'd probably be the best bet to bust it down if we need it to be busted down.
Hey, Green Bean, why don't you head up on there, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean-
I keep
Sorry,
kinda-
I like to dance, Cog. I can't help it.
Yeah, I was just saying, I was like, oh shit, she moved us, I moved, and then you moved right where I moved.
Okay. So you're making your way up to the main level of the inn, where all the lights have gone out.
What is going on?
Can I go ahead and take out a torch and light it?
You certainly can. It's not too hard to do so. You have a torch as well, so you pull it out of your pack and kind of point it towards Cog, and he can use his to light yours.
Druidcraft.
Or Druidcraft, that works too.
Like to think he figured out a way. He holds the torch and it's not doing. He's like, looks at it, he's like, what's going on? And then he just goes, and he just snaps his fingers and yours lights up. He's like, ah.
Now, as you slowly and cautiously make your way up to the main level, you can see that, yeah, sure enough, every single light has been snuffed out.
Oh, what is...
Go ahead, give me perception checks, everybody.
I guess with him being in front, he's gonna tap him on the back of his leg on Urzak and be like, "All right, you got this, buddy." He's gonna give him guidance.
Oh, okay.
Since he's up in front, so you get a D4.
That's a 5. Oh wait, I rolled the wrong thing. Hold on.
I'll just use the same number.
How do I just do a D4?
Just on the left side, you'll see that little where there's the arrow next to our names. There's a dice down on the bottom there, and you can just roll.
Roll a basic D4 off of it.
Yeah, just... Yep, there you go.
That makes it an 18.
Yeah.
Urzak, you're in the lead, and everyone else is kind of following behind, but the light of the torch is certainly helping with what you're doing here. The first thing you notice as you're walking up these stairs and get to the main level is how much dust is all throughout the hallway leading out to the common room. You're glancing down on the ground and you don't see footprints or anything like that. Like, you remember, you just walked down here less than 10 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was clean and it was clear and it was a well-kept inn, but as you're walking down the hall towards the main level of the inn itself, it is dark, but it is dusty. The light from Corwan and Vide's torches kind of shine out throughout the area, and you can see that on the tables there's a very fine layer of dust. There are glasses every so often that are tarnished and covered in cobwebs. The sconces above you seem to have been burnt down to nothing but nubs on the candles. The torch sconces that you had walked by, one of you even walks over and kind of glances in, and the oil and the pitch and whatnot that's usually used in a torch sconce to light it is gone. And it's dusty in there as well, almost as though the whole area hasn't been used in years.
So, did I space out there for a while? Did I lose track of time here?
No.
It didn't.
This place looked normal.
Yeah.
Can I make like an
correct?
Can I make like an Arcana check or like an intelligence check, because I know time between the Feywild and the material world is different. Is there any way of like telling if something some kind of similar effect happened while we were in the basement? Like maybe the basement was a different dimension or something?
Absolutely. As somebody who's lived between dimensions and has lived in the Feywild for some time, you would be very familiar with this kind of phenomenon. Go ahead and make that Arcana check.
I'm gonna guide myself. So I've
Good.
been rolling like crap. Arcana, natural 20. 29.
Good Lord, we're getting the... Why can't we get those on our attacks?
I know, right?
Right. I will mention that since we're like 40 minutes from the game, Marty, you do still have your coin that you haven't used.
I
this
was just
session.
thinking about that, yeah.
But Delphine, you're thinking back to yourself. You remember your time in the Feywild. You've been back and forth from the material plane and back again, and you understand the time dilation that can occasionally happen from traveling between planes. You know without a shadow of a doubt that's not what happened here. You would have noticed. You would have seen that arcane shift that happens when you step from plane to plane, and you know without a shadow of a doubt, you would have noticed if something like that would have happened. But no, you walked down here, time was normal, you fought some things, you started walking back up, and not in that entire time, nothing changed in the ambient magic or the ambient perception of reality.
I can't be 100% sure what is going on, but a time shift isn't one of them. Like, there was no time dilation from the time we went down to the basement till coming up.
You don't suppose we're, like when we crossed into that mist, that was like us crossing over to the other side, do you? Like maybe we all never woke up, maybe that wine those people gave us killed us, poisoned us, and now we're in the afterlife?
Oh, I mean, Urzak, Vide, it hurt to get bit by those rats, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't...
Well, I mean, who says the
It's not a
afterlife
dream.
doesn't suck? I mean, come on. Well, we were just up here. This
It could
place
have also
looks
been
clean,
illusion magic.
immaculate. That's a big illusion.
Maybe it's a big monster.
You know what? It said something about a baby on the 3rd floor. At this point, those kids are liars, but maybe we should check upstairs?
Maybe it's a powerful baby.
I mean, Delphine, for getting meta, you're level 1 and you rolled a 29 Arcana check. You're certain nothing like that happened.
Okay, so it wasn't illusion magic. I don't know what's going on. I don't have the answer.
Since Joe doesn't know how to respond to "it's a powerful baby," Cog won't either. Well, let's check upstairs. Maybe there's more signs of who owned this place. The Gustav and Elizabeth. Maybe we can find some about them. Maybe the kids are upstairs.
Maybe the kids are still outside. They were outside last we saw them.
Well, at this point, I'm almost curious. I mean, we actually saw them, right? I mean, they were real.
Well, nobody went touch them physically, so.
I mean, I think everybody knows you don't just touch a child. I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying, but yeah.
We experienced 2 senses of them, seeing them and speaking to them. I cannot confirm further than that.
I don't like that door going outside locked and you can't click it open. I don't like that, man. Yeah, let's check upstairs. More right now at this point. I'm terrified, but more clues the better. We need more information here.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe the afterlife sucks. Corwan Goodwood, fresh off the bus to Barovia. You don't just touch a child. Corwan Goodwood, 27 seconds later.
Hey, he's a learned man of, many words.
Look, I just meant physically feeling them,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Is that what the mask is for? Anyway, you know what? Before I start making kid-touching jokes just for laughs, which, oddly enough, yeah, let's just go upstairs before I get myself into trouble.
See what's going on in the rest of this house.
I am definitely gonna keep my sword out.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh yeah, I have my gun out right now. It's full on out.
Okay, so you're on the bottom level right now. You can see that some of the windows are open. You've rolled some pretty high perception checks, and you can see out a little bit through the stained glass windows. So it is still a slightly light out.
Are they
that sort of
broken?
No,
or are
not
they
at all.
They're actually physically open, or it's just we can see out them open?
You can see out them a little bit. It's so Roll20 is weird. I can't filter color and things like that through the windows, but you can still see from the outside. You can still see outside through them. It's just through colored glass. You've all been in a church. You've looked through stained glass before.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what that is like. But you're looking through stained glass, and most of the stained glass is just of trees or little mountains. They're little scenic things. They're nothing too important. But there is a little bit of light out. You know that it's probably around 7 o'clock in the evening. It's going to be dark soon, but it's not too dark.
Big question: when we look out the window, do we see the wagon?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
It's like you can only see the shape of it because it is like a good 100 or so. Well, I don't know how far it is. Yeah, it's about 60 feet away. It's not like too long. You can still see that the wagon is there. You can still see the two horses that have been hobbled, or not horses, donkeys that have been hobbled and are standing there. They're looking kind of nervous and standing there, but they're just chilling.
So they're not skeletons that we've been here for years. Okay.
No.
Okay. Hey, yeah, the boys in the cart are still outside, so this is definitely a mystery. I'd say let's go upstairs. Check that out real quick.
Alright, yeah, let's do that. Let's go upstairs.
I do try the door just for good measure.
Okay. You walk over to the door and you put your hands on the handle and you kind of jiggle it and pull a little bit. It is locked.
Mm.
You kind of pull a little bit harder. Definitely locked. Securely locked, in fact.
Well, this is either a weird prank by those kids or something else is nearby.
Can anybody pick a lock by chance?
Delphine, or not Delphine, Danika, I believe. She said, yeah, I can. And she kind of comes running up, you know, very proud of herself as she pulls out her lockpicking kit.
We're just go announcing that.
Yeah, she kind of just like starts talking. Oh, you know, before when I was young, I was living in the orphanage, and I had a friend who kind of taught me how to do this sort of thing, and yada yada yada. And she keeps going on and on. I don't want to like talk
Let's pick it.
too much about it, but yeah, she can definitely pick it.
Or at least try anyway.
No, she can do it.
Well, she certainly tries to. She gets down and pulls out her picks and starts like tinkering away at it a little bit, and one of them breaks, and she's like, "Oh no, this is way too difficult for me to pick."
Urzak, can you like forcibly pick the lock?
You know what? Let's
this might be a problem for later.
before we go damaging property, maybe we could find some keys.
Fair. Let's just
Give it a little shoulder bash for good measure, but
I mean, if you want to, go ahead and make an athletics check.
nah, it's okay.
What were you saying, Delphine?
Oh, I like the idea of maybe there are keys, maybe there's an office upstairs.
That's fair.
Could be. I guess we'll just head on up.
You start making your way up to the second floor. You have to go up a set of stone stairs that kind of curve around and do a U after a first landing, and you go up to the second floor. As you look about to your right and to your left, you can see a long hallway. Here we go. You can see that there are a few unlit lamps that are mounted on the walls of this long hallway. Hanging above the mantelpiece, the moment you get to the top of the stairs, you can see opposite the wall, you can see that there is another portrait, this time of 5 individuals. You recognize 2 of them as the older couple that were in the paintings down below. The man and the woman of middling human years. They have dark hair, kind of brown, but streaked with gray. But the 2 of them are in this portrait along with 2 smiling children, whom you recognize to be Briar and Poppy, the 2 children you had met outside. Cradled in the father's arms is a swaddled baby of... It's difficult to tell, but it's wrapped in a blue blanket, so you're guessing possibly a boy. But you can't help but notice that as you look towards the mother, Elizabeth, you can't help but notice that she's scowling down at the baby in the man's arms, almost with a hint of scorn. Now, beyond the portrait, you can see that there are doors along both sides of the hallway, which veers off towards the right at the far end. The doors are carved with dancing youths, and motifs of that nature. So what do you do?
Well,
Why do I get the feeling that if we look closer at the painting, it's going to have some of that weird iconography from downstairs? Bones and wolves and skeletons.
Do you?
No.
Yeah, I'll look closer.
Make a perception check or an investigation, either or.
Gonna investigate with guidance. 25.
As you're glancing at the portraits themselves, you don't see anything more than what I described initially. Though the frames of them, the frames of the portrait, you can see that among the scrolling like vine work, you can see more of what at first you took to be like apples or maybe berries, but are actually skulls hanging off of the branches. However, as you look at the wooden carving of the doors, you can see that the youths that you at first thought were dancing aren't really dancing at all, but are fighting off swarms of bats and are kind of like seem like they're running and throwing their hands up, trying to ward themselves away from the bats.
There's something dark going on in this house. This inn.
For sure. Do we each want to take a door and just like kind of peek them open to get a quick look through? Because I'm assuming, being an inn, these are just like, you know, just rooms.
Well, there's a lot of doors. Just tell me which one you're opening, and I'm going to tell you which one what you can see in it.
I'll open this first one on the left side.
Okay. Urzak goes over to the door at the left, and the first thing that he can see is actually filled with red velvet drapes covering the windows of a very ornate-looking library. You can see that there's an exquisite mahogany table and a matching high-backed chair facing the entrance of the room. Opposite that hangs another framed picture of a windmill perched atop a rocky crag. Situated in corners of this room are two high-backed benches, and all throughout the room are floor-to-ceiling bookshelves that line the middle and the southern area of the room. You can also see that there is a rolling wooden ladder along the back that kind of allows more easy reach to the high shelves. Vide, are you opening the door that you were at?
Yes, I am.
Now, opening that door, as your friends kind of start looking through the into this library that you found, you can see. Sorry. You can see that the room itself is small and dusty. There is a bed, a dresser, and a table with an unlit candle on it. You also notice that there is a black robe hanging on a hook near the door. But I'd like you to make a perception check for me.
That would be a 5.
You don't really notice Go ahead.
Can I? Since we're getting to the end of the game, I do see. I got advantage given to me in chat. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I did not, but yeah, go. I see it now. Hey, Pink Chic Geek, my favorite artist, giving us bis and giving Vide advantage. So yes, absolutely. Go ahead and roll this perception check with advantage.
That'll be a 16 instead of a 5, because I feel like this might be kind of important.
So, you do notice that the rest of your friends are all shuffling off towards the room that Urzak opened. But as you're alone, your eyes go back towards that bed. And at first, it's just dusty and kind of... It's made up. Like, imagine you go into a hotel room and you see a room that hasn't been used in hella long time. And so you see what you expect. Dust on everything. It smells kind of musty and whatnot. But then you glance over again at the bed. And you see a wet, slick patch on it. You move closer, holding up that torch. And you realize it's slick and wet and kind of has a sheen to it. You can't help yourself but reach your fingers towards it and you touch it. And you feel a viscous sort of substance cling to your fingers. That as you pull your hand up and touch it, it's tacky, like blood. What do you do?
So it's just there's no color to it at all? Because I have a torch, I would be able to see the color.
No, you can absolutely see it. And at first it's just like the blanket gets darker, and that's why you went over to touch it. But now that you're seeing it, more of that liquid is starting to pool upward into a literal pool on the bed. And it's dark and red. Almost like blood.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely gonna get everybody's attention. Like, hey guys, this is really strange over here.
You yell that loudly, and as you yell that, you see the blood starting to pool upward more and more, and starts flowing outward towards the edge of the bed. You can't help but watch, transfixed, as it just pours over the side down to the ground and begins just pooling along the floor, getting closer and closer to you. You keep stepping backward, watching this liquid as it's just seems to be coming towards you, going along the ground. But then you see it start to rise upward, almost like a mouth or a hand reaching towards you. You glance backwards, yelling again, "Hey guys! Hey! Something's coming up!" And everyone starts running up, hearing that, filing away out of the library towards you. And you look back and you see them, and then you look again towards the room, and there's nothing there. No blood. No nothing. No pool on the ground. Only dust.
Whoa.
Okay, so I swear I saw something. I'm gonna look at my hand. There's nothing. I'm assuming there's nothing on my hand.
There is not. There's nothing on your hand at all.
Okay, Okay, that was either a trick of the lights or there's definitely something very weird going on. I'm gonna describe to them what I saw.
And as you're doing that, I'm looking at the chat, and Nightbot is complaining whenever someone uses a few emojis, and I have no fucking clue why, because I certainly didn't set it to do that. So I apologize to Anesthetic as well. Sorry about that. I just started using this bot, so I will try to figure out why it's doing that, but I apologize.
It might think it's spamming or something like that.
That's what it does. It's thinking it's spamming, and I don't know why it's thinking that, because I did not set that. It's not a Twitch thing. It's a Nightbot thing, and I did not set it to do that, so I don't know why it's doing it. But they just had a weird update, so I will go figure that out. Again, I apologize, Anesthetic, about that. But anyway, That's what you all saw. That's what you saw. That's what you described.
The blood moved off the bed.
Yes, it pulled
Mm.
up from the bed.
Moved towards you, and then
Yes.
started reaching out to grab you, and that was a trick of the light.
Remember that scene in Ghostbusters 2 with the bathtub?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think something's fucked up here.
I mean, I'm not.
What was your first clue, man?
Well, I mean, I think it was the rat that looked like it could have taken me out for a date. I think it was that, because it was a big ass rat. And then dust everywhere. All the things burned down. Something's going on with this place.
Well, we did just find a library. Maybe there's some books on. Maybe there's some ritual magic going on here.
I'm
Still
thinking we're dead.
First, I'm closing this door just in case. Do we want to look in any of the other rooms, or I mean, like I feel like we kind of need to explore everything.
Oh yeah, no. I kind of like libraries myself.
Yeah.
I would recommend if we do open any other doors, we at the very least go in pairs.
He's gonna put his hand towards his carotid and be like, all right. Yep, nope, there's a heartbeat, so if we're dead, this is a whole new ball game.
Well, let's. I want to take a look at this library, especially with all of this weird stuff going on. There's got to be something in there.
Sure.
Okay. So you all are walking away from the one of the rooms and make your way into the library. As I said, there are the velvet drapes that are covering the walls and the windows in this room. There's the big mahogany table. There's a high back chair. There is a lot of bookshelves and things of that nature. So what are y'all looking at for?
Are there any labels like on the bookshelves that might say, subject matter or some kind of a catalog system?
Investigation checks.
I will also be looking. Here, you take these shelves. I'll take these.
I'm gonna scope the desk here.
18 for Cog.
Dirty 20.
Natural one.
I mean,
Can I-
you
can I
do
use
have
the-
a free
can I use
natural
the
20.
Can I use the coin here? Go
Yeah.
use the coin here.
Yes, go ahead and use the coin. So that's a nat 20 for Urzak for the coin. Urzak, I'm going to go with you first for your natural 20. The table itself has several items resting atop of it. There is an oil lamp, a jar of ink, a quill pen, a tinderbox, and a letter kit containing a red wax candle. There are also 4 blank sheets of parchment and a wooden seal that, as you pick up and examine, it's the same motif that you've seen on the shield and the longsword downstairs of a windmill on top of a hilly crag. But as you're looking over it, you also see that on the lower side of the table there is a drawer that is kind of concealed, and you only barely see the edging of it, and you like run your fingers along it, and you feel a little bit of an indentation that you push, which unlocks a small drawer. Inside the drawer, you find 2 black candles, a dagger, corroded and black, and a small iron key. Now, for Corwan and Delphine, the two of you are looking...
That's a 28 to look at the book. Because I was given advantage to read books. So.
Oh. Indeed, you were, with the gods looking down on you with favor for Delphine. So for that 28 technically with your guidance. Jesus Christ. You start scanning the books. And most of them seem to be very generalized history of war, of magic. And as a member of the Institute Arcanum, you've spent a lot of your life in the Twisting Spires, in their libraries, studying magical lore, magical theory, magical history. One of the things that pops out to you almost immediately is that most of the volumes in this library are hundreds, if not close to 1,000 years out of print. And a lot of the theories that are listed in the books, as you're just kind of glancing through and looking over the table of contents, has been either disproven or found better ways to do at least 300 or 400 years ago. A lot of the tomes in here are worthless.
I don't know what you're finding over there, Cog, but a lot of this is super out of date information.
Cog, you yourself, as you're looking through these, like you're more interested in the history and the lore.
Yeah.
And most of what you're finding is of an area that, like, you've never even heard of before. You're finding books about the land called a name. What languages do you speak?
One second, let me get back to that. Okay. Oh, multi-screen setups are great, but they suck sometimes. I have Common, Halfling, Elvish, Draconic, and Dwarven.
A lot of the histories that you're finding, honestly, like it's not making a whole lot of sense to you. None of the languages you're meeting up with at first makes sense, but then you're also starting to look at them, and it's like you're looking for names, you're looking for dates, you're looking for anything recognizable. And as somebody who's lived in their conclave most of their life and has spent a lot of time in the archives, like, you're seeing words that you recognize as supposed to be common, but are spelt differently, and it's almost as though you're encountering a region that is pretty much separate from anything you know and anything you recognize of Loropa.
So it's like dialogue hasn't evolved, is what you're kind of saying.
Kind of, a little bit, yeah.
Like old English to modern day English. There's similarities, which you can definitely tell that things are a little off.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, that still is gonna like greatly excite him, and so he's like, yeah, no, I totally see what you're saying. I mean, the language. I mean, I haven't seen these words written. I mean, hell, most of the tomes we have, I've been updating them for the common word, and yeah, these words haven't been used in hundreds of years.
Now, Delphine, as he's saying that, you can't help but look over and regard your halfling friend, but then your eyes go past him, over his head towards the wall, over in this side right over here, nearby where Urzak is currently standing, near the desk. And it's almost a trick of the light, but for a second you could almost swear you saw a line silhouetting him, as though there's something else in that wall behind him.
Hey, Urzak?
Yeah.
How you doing over there at that desk? You got a little something behind you.
What? I look behind me.
And I point out where the lines are that I saw.
Yeah. Delphine comes over and starts like pointing out, and you reach out, Urzak, and you place your hand against the wall, and you feel. And at first, there's nothing there, but then you can definitely feel like that invisible little lip for barely more than it's barely more than a piece of paper's breadth, but you definitely can feel a crack there. And you start feeling around, feeling up and down. And Delphine, you begin to help him with that, and kind of like, no, there, move your hand to your left. No, right there. And Urzak, you feel a small plate that you push. And what was just a simple wall for a moment moves inward by like a 16th of an inch as you push that little plate.
Okay.
I assume you push it open?
Yeah, just keep going.
Okay.
Whoa.
You push it open, and the wall swings inward to reveal a small chamber beyond. You look about, glancing to your left and to your right, and you can see a small bookshelf filled with about 16 books in a dark black leather bound. And to your right, a large chest, about 2.5 feet tall, 4 lion's paw feet adorn the bottom of a iron wrought chest. You can also see that there is a skeleton propping up the lid of this chest about halfway and kind of leaning inward over it. And then the lid of the chest is kind of come down on top of them. It almost looks for half a second like the chest is eating them. But you can see that this figure is skeletal and desiccated. You can still see the flesh remains, but it's almost as if it's been here for years upon years. The clothing it's wearing is tattered and moth-eaten and barely hanging on to its form. But you can also see that there is leather armor on its shoulders. And that's about all you can see in this room.
I've heard of keeping skeletons in your closet, but this is ridiculous.
Boom, boom.
No, I shouldn't.
Is the leather armor also tattered and torn, or is it?
Are you walking over to investigate it?
Well, he'll kind of like peek, around Urzak's legs, and just kind of like get a look at it. He's like, oh, yeah, that's not good to find.
Then you can kind of see what I told you.
Okay. As soon as he sees the books, he would start kind of check out this bookshelf and look at these dark, not at all covered in human skin, tomes.
Sure.
Right? It's not human skin.
Are you picking
obviously.
Are you picking up the one of the books to
He would
peruse?
start. He'll like kind of scan, see if there's anything on the bindings, or look around it first before he touches anything.
No writing on the bindings.
Then I suppose he would kind of gingerly reach out and kind of like touch the first one and slide the book out.
Sure. You reach out. You're careful. You're worried because you've been in the conclave a long time. You've read some stories. You touch and pull your hand away. Nothing. You reach out again. Put your fingers on it. Pull away. Nothing. You reach out again. Grabbing it, pulling it back a little bit. You're worried. Nothing.
He's heard of mimics, and he's heard of just books that when you read them, and he said books that had a nice filigreed tree on the front of it. When you opened it up, it fucked with your brain. So he's seen all kinds of books before.
Yeah, no, that's valid. As a member of the Conclave and familiar with history, treating these cautiously.
Some of our books are trapped.
Let's see. He'll start perusing it and see. Is it written in that same old kind of? I guess call it old common.
Well, you pull it out and you begin looking it over. Make me an Arcana check.
Ironically, I am not proficient in that, so he's getting 14 total.
You have never seen arcane writings like this, and the Conclave has a very comprehensive library on magical spells and magical theory. Though you yourself are not of that inclination, you've seen it before. And what you're looking at now is not only is it not what you would have expected from a spell, it's not composed in a way of a spell you've ever been familiar with.
He'd call Delphine over. He's like, this might be a little more up your alley. See what you can make of this one. And he'd hold that up to her and start looking in another book.
Did anybody look to see, like, what made that skeleton a skeleton?
I was gonna take a closer look at the chest when I had a moment.
Investigation check, please.
I don't have the coin anymore, I'm scared. 15.
You walk over to the chest with the skeleton half in and half out of it, and you kind of give it a cursory glance around. The first thing you notice is that in the skeleton that's sticking out from some of the bone in its neck, your close inspection reveals that the skeleton has 3 small pieces of wood with arrow tips stuck into the neck bones. You can recognize that this is probably a human. It's definitely humanoid. The skull's the right shape. The spine is just curved in the way that most humans are. And the bones themselves are thin and kind of scraggly. Not the scraggly that an elf would be, but much more than your own half-orc form. Definitely a human. Definitely wearing studded armor. They clearly have triggered some type of trap on the chest, and their payment for triggering that trap is the 3 darts sticking out from the neck bones right now. Now, clutched in the skeleton's hand as you're examining it, it's half in the chest, but you can still glance down there and look. You do have dark vision, and Cog is behind you a little bit, looking at those bookshelves. So you do have some light in this area as well. You can see that the skeletal hand, with just a little bit of flesh connected to it, is holding what appears to be a letter, an envelope. And there is a crest on there in wax that is broken in half, but it's red wax, and it bears a motif that you're not familiar with. It's a shield with some markings, some runic symbols, and a symbol of a great flying creature and a singular star. But the crest and the wax has been broken in half, but still is folded and worn. So you kind of get the idea, like the paper itself is worn and kind of yellowed. So it's old and it's definitely been written, but the skeleton that's like half in the chest, half out, is holding it.
Okay. Can I just gingerly grab for the letter?
Yeah, you kind of reach in. The chest is half closed over the skeleton. You kind of reach your hand in, and you're super super careful not to touch anything, and you absolutely can grab it.
Open it up and read it.
And I'm going to show it to you now. So feel free to read it.
Ooh. My most pathetic servant, I am not a messiah sent to you by the dark powers of this land. I have not come to lead you on a path to immortality. However many souls you have bled on your hidden altar, however many visitors you have tortured in your dungeon, know that you are not the ones who brought me to this beautiful land. You are but worms writhing in my earth. You say that you are cursed, your fortune spent. You abandoned love for madness, took solace in the bosom of another woman, and sired a stillborn son. Cursed by darkness, of that I have no doubt. Save you from your wretchedness? I think not. I much prefer you as you are. Your dreadlord and master, Strahd von Zarovich.
And Urzak can't help but kind of read this aloud. You can't see that there are more items in the chest itself that the skeleton was not holding, but that's the thing that was in their hand. And all the rest of you hear Urzak read that out loud.
So, dark ritual magic?
Does it think maybe this place was where they were torturing people? Oh. I didn't really see any torture places downstairs.
I didn't either.
But are we sure what we're seeing is what we're actually seeing? What happened in that room back there?
I don't know. Are the rest of these books the same, kind of like more arcane, like spell books, like the first one?
What is the book that Cog had handed Delphine?
Make an Arcana check.
Yeah. 25.
As you start glancing through this book, you, Delphine, have spent years in the Institute Arcana. You lived your life for 20, 30, however many years in the Twisting Spires, and you've studied a lot of magic. With your 23 Arcana check, or 25 Arcana check, because you're using guidance, you can tell without a shadow of a doubt that the rituals and the arcanum that you're reading is pure and 100% bullshit. It's fake. There are rituals describing reanimation. There's rituals describing summoning beings from other worlds. You're seeing rituals that describe wealth and power. You're seeing things that actually, as you're sitting there and you're calculating in your mind, as only a wizard can, you're realizing that some of these rituals are nothing more than a fucking orgy. But everything you're reading through this book, and you drop it to the ground, and you grab another, and you start looking, and then you do the math in your mind, and you throw that book to the ground as well. You grab the next one, you start going through it. You as Urzak and is going through that chest, you're throwing book after book to the ground, and you're getting frustrated because you know without a shadow of a doubt that every single one of these rituals and every single one of these spells is not real. None of this would work. None of this even has the shred of arcane understanding to them. They're almost like if a group of rednecks got a hold of the Necronomicon and got the idea of how it would
looks
work.
It looks like a bunch of warlocks wrote these books thinking they were wizards and they could actually accomplish something in the world.
Damn.
Goddamn, shots fired. Any warlocks in our audience? Jesus.
Yeah.
She doesn't speak for all of us. I love you people.
Nah, Delphine,
That's Delphine's thoughts, not...
We love all spellcasters equally.
Absolutely, we
Except
do.
For
Warlock,
artificers. Nerds.
Like, I mean, they had to have believed that this worked. Like, there's even these books out in the main library, but like none of these rituals will accomplish anything but death of innocent people.
Now, Urzak, based on the fact that like you can see the spikes in the neck and whatnot,
Right.
do you open up the chest and look through it while Delphine is like throwing these books on the ground?
I am operating under the assumption that if there was a trap in this chest, it's already been sprung. So I am going to investigate the rest of the chest.
Okay.
And
Opening
I have
up-
been given advantage if we want to do a check out of it.
Do it. Do an investigation check at advantage because Pink Chic Geek, who is our favorite artist and the only artist of this show whatsoever, has given you advantage.
Thank you, Pink Sheet Geek. That's a
Yep.
17.
We love you, Bree. We love your art. And with the 17 investigation, so you pull the skeleton back away, and you can tell that that studded leather armor is serviceable studded leather armor. Inside the chest itself, there are 3 black books with gold filigree around the label and the edges. You can also see that there are 3 scrolls, sealed in wax and placed very carefully at the bottom of the thing, along with 2 other pieces of paper that have just been folded in half and sealed. You pull
Okay.
them out, and I'm gonna just say you spend some time looking through them. The books themselves are blank. You estimate they're probably worth about 25 gold pieces each. Of the 3 spells, Urzak, you specifically would recognize them, looking over the divine runes that are upon them. They are 3 spell scrolls. They have the spells Bless, Protection from Poison, and Spiritual Weapon. The other 2 items, as you open them up and glance through them, one is the deed to the house. It reports that the deed is owned by a Gustav Durst, D-U-R-S-T. You also find a deed to a windmill, which is reported to be about 25 miles outside of a town called Veros. V-E-R-O-S. The other items is the deed to the house, which you recognize as owned by Gustav Durst. The last thing is a signed will. The will specifically states that the owners of the inn and the windmill are owned by the Durst family and is willed to Briar and Poppy upon their death. If no living heirs are in existence, the deeds are then transferred to the possessors of the will and deeds.
Ho ho ho! I think we gotta kill some kids. We got a house, guys.
We have a house.
We have an inn.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And a windmill?
That was Joe saying that, not Cog. He's not that evil.
Well, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say those kids are dead. I don't know. If it's been however many years.
Years.
But our wagon and donkeys are still outside. So I mean, they're not dead. Something's going
That's
on
also
here.
true.
And all 16 of the books that were on this little shelf are just the silly nonsense, weird sex ritual stuff.
It's weird sex ritual and silly nonsense, and I mean, as a man, it's hard to not be like, oh, that's what's going on here. But ignoring that and pushing past it as an archivist, as a researcher, and as somebody who's hanging out with a wizard from the Twisted Spires, you can't help but notice and recognize the fact that this shit's useless. It's not real.
Why would they keep him here in a secret room?
They must have thought that it was real. They must have been using these rituals. They must have thought they meant something.
I mean, that's why they got so much liquor downstairs. I guess they would need it get everybody loose and limp. I mean, yeah, maybe they thought they were real. Bunch of perverts. He'd put the books back on there nicely. He might keep one. I guess he's gonna start, like, if he can, see some of these books to take with, just to be like, kind of catalog them and maybe take them back home if they, he's assuming they're gonna go back home any day now.
You can absolutely.
He'll at least keep one just to put it out on like this little table while he would look at the other books out here too.
Take whatever book you want. You can add that to your inventory.
Yeah, anything that's like a history of the land is what he's looking for, because they're trying to learn as much as they can about this place. So if he had like a empty sack or something like that, or if he could find something, he'd pile a bunch of books into it so they can put in their wagon later.
I mean, you yourself, you'd have to tell me if you have a sack in your inventory.
That's what I mean. I can look, or I can look on the list out, for our stuff outside. But I don't think he would just have. He would just have his normal pack, which I don't know if he could stuff a whole lot into.
Yeah, I don't think you have an actual sack, but I will also point out that, like, across the hall, there's a bunch of rooms. And you could just go over and get a blanket.
Yeah. That's what I was just about. Like, he might cut one up and like turn into like a little hobo sack on a stick or something like that, kind of to pick out some of the more. Yeah, pick out some of the more choice. But like I said, he's looking for anything that's histories of the land, histories of local fauna, local plant life, anything that he can get about the actual area is this kind of thing that he's taking, even if it's well out of date. With the language and things like that, that's still information. That's still good stuff to him.
Yeah.
Or
you can absolutely take that stuff. You can grab a handful of books. You can maybe in a blanket carry a dozen or so books.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's not, leaking blood.
For sure.
We need to get you some rest. I think you've had a long day. He's just looking at it. It's like it's like, I think maybe this one's crazy. But yeah, I guess we can. If there's no other like super secret books or anything in this room that we can find, or
you've all done very thorough searches. So at least in this room, you're fairly confident. Other than like the random rituals that seem to be nonsense, you could. I mean, if you wanted to pack them all up, you could. But
he doesn't. He'll maximize for what, like I said, the things he's looking for are histories and, anything like that is what he's taking. So I'll just put dozen, library books.
Yeah, dozen library books. Okay. Well, you are on the second floor. You have explored this library a bit. A lot of more rooms in this a lot of more stuff to look at. But for the most part, at least... You're not under attack, and
that's a good thing.
That's always a good thing. So, I think we're going to go ahead and end things here for this evening.
Woo! Okay. Session 1, we're not dead. Woo!
Yeah. Session 1, you're not dead. That's always a good thing.
That's always good.
And we have the deed to a house.
It's
Well,
And a
true.
yeah,
windmill.
Real estate,
And a
baby.
windmill.
Location, location, location.
Which you'll be able to check out at a different time. Now, as we always do at the end of our sessions, we are going to kind of go around and, well, Pink Shit Geek is giving everybody a healing surge. So I'm going to roll a 2d4 real quick, and everybody heals up 8 hit points.
All right, Mr. Kenny Rules. We got to kill some kids. Let's not attribute that quote to Corwan just yet.
But hey, if
Well.
you're injured, you've just gained an extra hit points as you're walking out of the library. You just feel, yeah,
You didn't let her finish.
including the skeleton.
Oh, good lord.
That healing surge was to the skeleton in the chest.
I mean,
Okay.
you know what? Yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that, but we're going to start
Oh,
things
good
off
lord.
next session. As you're all walking away, suddenly the skeleton rises up and is going to attack you. That's just what's going to happen.
No,
now.
He's gonna be our friend.
Nope. It's too late. It already happened. So, as you're all walking away, you just hear that and suddenly a skeleton rises up and comes running at you, and we're going to deal with that next session. But we're dealing with it next session because it's 9:19 and we're done for the day. So, I'm going to go around and give everyone the chance to tell us who you are, where we can find you on the internet, and you know what? Also tell us what was your favorite thing in tonight's episode. Brandie, you're going to go first.
So I'm Brandie Dawson. You can find me every Monday here playing everyone's favorite Turtle Monk in the Debauchery Circus campaign at 3. And also, obviously, every other Wednesday here playing Vide. It's hard to pick my favorite thing for for tonight. I'm gonna have to go with. I'm really enjoying Cog's descriptions of everything.
But play-by-plays.
Yes, your play by.
Is that showing up, I guess, in the little box on
Yeah,
Twitch
it is.
chat? Okay, good. So it's not just us
I
getting to
love
enjoy it. I'm gonna actually have to go through. So far I've got it in a Word doc, and every time I'm gonna have to actually go through like the end and make like a fucking actual book of cogs.
Hogisms.
Have fun with that, buddy.
I mean,
Okay.
I could probably just start piecing it together as I go.
Urzak, you're up next.
So, I'm Marty. You can find me on most social media at Balmartian. You can also find me on the Wayfaring Strangers podcast. I'm currently on Bard Rock Cafe, and I appear on a lot of their Twitch live streams as well. And I have a few new projects coming up this summer, so be on the lookout.
Gotta love it.
My favorite moment this week was revealing that Urzak is afraid of rats.
I'm sure it's not going to come up at all
No,
in
it's
this
fine.
campaign. It'll be fine.
That's the only time we'll ever run into rats, and it will
Definitely.
never happen again.
For sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
Definitely. Dyto, how about you?
You can find me on Twitter at Dyto11. I am mostly on Lost Caravan. I'll be on there next week playing more 5e. But I also troll the chats and give people villain points because I like dark, scary horror stuff. That's why I'm here. My favorite thing about tonight was the back and forth between Cog and Delphine, kind of that Conclave Institute rivalry,
Oh,
kind of show it a little bit, but like good-naturedly.
it's like, don't start that now. Now I'm gonna have to play that up now.
Yeah. Corwan, how about you?
Well, I am Joe Trotter, but I'm on Twitter at Blood from Stone with 0 instead of an O from. Normally Monday nights, I am the most adorable Rogue Ranger Tabaxi named Blood from a Stone that you could possibly find. Best character, best show. Other than that, I mean, I guess my favorite, I mean, it's starting. I did it last time, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to keep doing this. I'm enjoying trying to really, fluff up like the simplest things we're doing, try to like make him dramatic because he's writing his own story now, and so Cog is really trying to sweeten this shit up. And so I'm just trying to like, all right, how can I do this? It's like, do a couple little jabs at them. If they fail, it's cute, fun, lighthearted, at least from my perspective. Maybe Cog really is a bastard, but haven't really fleshed that out yet. But so far, that's kind of been my favorite thing so far, is just getting to do that. I don't flex that much as Blood from a Stone, so...
It's always fun to flex, and we'll find out more in the future how that goes. Well, yeah. So I'm Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and GM here on the Random Rhapsody Network. You can follow me on the tweets and the Instas as @ScruffyWanderer. And besides running and playing games here, you can also find me on the Transverses, all on the table TRPG content, which I am on the second and the fourth Saturday of every month. And you can come hang out and say hi to there, or you can hang out with me every Monday, where I run the Debauchery Circus at 3 p.m. and the Fav 5 at 7 p.m. Central. Every single Monday. We're in season 3 of both campaigns. We're going to be ending it soon. It's going to be a lot of fun, so come hang out with us. And so, on behalf of everyone here in the cast and crew of Random Rhapsody, I just want to say thank you for watching, folks. It's been a delight. So long, good luck, and until next time, may you live until you die. Good night, everybody.